This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to you all out there, ladies and gentlemen, to another show, Safari Live, coming to you live from the wilderness in Djuma in the Sabi Sands. We have managed to find a herd of wildebeest, my herd of wildebeest, I might say, and my name is indeed Steve Falconbridge. I'm joined on camera once again by the impeccable Senzo Mkize. And please, you know the score. Send your questions and comments through to hashtag Safari Live or on YouTube. Follow the stream and just add to the chat. Let us know what you'd like to see, what you'd like to talk about. I'm not alone out this afternoon. We've also got Taylor McCurdy out on vehicle and James Hendry himself out on bushwalk. So let's have another look at these lovely wildebeest, shall we, Sens? You can see on the left is the one individual there. Is the little youngster, was born in December. You can see he's completely got the adult sort of coloration now. They were quite sort of fluffy brown not so long ago. And you can see by the size and just the shape of the horns that have just popped right up. And they're completely grazing now. There's no need for any lactation or for milk. They are little funny little guys when they're younger. But probably joined in the herd. Magic Dragon Wizard, I always love your name. Looks like your son and his friends, a group. Okay, do they all have long faces and are munching on grass? I wonder. So you can't really tell. Maybe you can pick up on the audio, but there's a really strong breeze coming from the south, and these animals have kind of got themselves at the bottom of this little valley. And it's probably in the least windy spot. When we were up on the top of the hill there, it was very windy on the western side, or so the southwestern side of these banks. And so this herd has come in sort of secreting themselves down here. One or two of them are starting to lie down, getting ready for a bit of rumination. We're not far at all away from Vuitela watering hole. And to find animals this afternoon, we're going to have to look in the drainage depressions, in the areas where they can shelter themselves away. Because even though we're not far away from it, there are animals and predators in and around, and they could be absolutely anywhere.
Hello everybody and good afternoon. My name is Taylor McCurdy and on camera with me today is Sebastian. And like Steve has already told you, this is a wonderful and live interactive safari, so I look forward to hearing from all of you. Now, I don't know what we're going to be looking for today. I'm hoping to find some elephants, but first what we're going to do is we're very quickly going to check this area because on bushwalk this morning, probably in the last 10 minutes or so, we had impalas going ballistic, shouting like you cannot believe. So we need to just see if there were any leopards that were walking around over the top of our tracks, so that'll be where we'll start, and if nothing then we might head towards Chitwa, because there seems to be a big herd of elephants that frequents the dam in the afternoon. So that's the idea behind it anyways, and hopefully we'll have a similar sighting like we did yesterday afternoon, which was really, really quite special, seeing all those animals down at the dam. Wouldn't that be nice? Can I already hear why is this Franklin shouting? Okay. Here's a Franklin shouting about you, so I'm going to have a little look around. Off you go back to Steve with the wildebeest.
Yes, well, I think in this wind everything is going to be a little bit panicked, although these wildebeest are looking a little bit chilled. They do look at each other every now and again. There's enough of them around to be watching. And what is always very interesting, and the wind is kind of coming from behind that one that's looking in this direction. So they often will put their back to the wind. You can see the one that's lying on the ground ruminating. It's kind of got its back to the wind, and then they stare off into the distance of the direction where potentially a predator would be coming from. So that's kind of one of the things I've always noticed. I don't know if it's a research thing or proven fact, but you often will find animals doing exactly that. Giraffe are a very good example, and these wildebeest are making the most out of the very dry grass, grazing it right down to the bottom and then chewing it to get the most maximum nutrients out of what to us doesn't look like much nutrients at all. And we're not expecting any more rain for quite some time. So they're going to have to make do with what's available. Yes, you're going to have to make do. And it is always a marvel at how, look at that, there's a nice chunk of grass in the mouth, and how that is going to satisfy them and their bodily functions. Sitting Bull, that's a very good question. I mean, the Mara migration is something I'm not too familiar with. I've never experienced one before, but they reckon it's starting at the moment. But there's been all sorts of upheavals with regards to the weather and the rain, and there's been so much rain around that there might not even be a need for the entire migration to occur. Ooh, what are you doing? That is a fully grown female trying to access some milk from another female. Okay, well, when times are tough. But the purpose of the migration in the Serengeti is the wildebeest move away from their grazing lands once they've given birth, purely because the food resource disappears. But there's been a lot of rain, and so I think the grass is being replenished there, so it's a good chance that only a small portion of those animals will move. But it's from about now up until August, sort of September time, obviously fluctuating with the rain can be either side of that. So July through to August, September, I think, is the general norm. But I think you've got to really understand the weather patterns and what's going on to get that on the money. A lot of people miss it because they book way in advance and they don't actually know what's happened with the weather, because the wildebeest don't go, okay, cool, it's July 1st, let's go. It's all about food resource. It's the same as migrating birds down here. The global warming is a factor, and we're seeing it. And birds are leaving South Africa later than they have been before, and they're also arriving later, leaving Europe later, because it's not as cold in Europe as it was, and we're getting later rains here, so more food. That's a pure reason for moving, is the need to constantly eat. To constantly eat. Okay, well, Herbie's calling me on the radio. I'm just going to give him a quick little hello. Good afternoon, Herbie. He's on bushwalk with Mr. James Hendry. Okay, well, it looks like the bushwalk team is up and ready to go.
And, well, it was carrying a leaf, and it's no longer carrying a leaf. My name is James Hendry. There we go. And Fergus is on camera. And as always, the great Herbert Causer will be running interference for us. All right, our plan today is to see if we can't find the tracks of Shidulu, who was seen around here today, a 6-year-old leopardess. Forgotten how old she is. I think she's 6. 6-year-old, she can't be that old. She's younger than that. A leopardess, 4-year-old leopardess, thank you, Luke, who was around about this area this morning. She disappeared into a thicket somewhere around there. We'll see if we can find her tracks. If we don't have any update on those tracks, we'll head off to the far east and see if we can find Tundi's tracks. Herbert did go out there between drives and unfortunately was unable to find any sign of Tundi, aged 12. That was on account of the wind. It's been blowing quite brusquely today, and on account of the thousands of elephants that were in that region. So that is the general modus operandi today for our bushwalk on this Thursday afternoon. It's marvellous to have you with us. Don't forget to talk to us using the hashtag SafariLive and, of course, the chat stream on YouTube.
Oh, sorry, everybody. It's getting all settled there. There's a beautiful giraffe, as you can see. Pretty awesome how he looks like he's completely entangled in that tree. But he's not. He's fine. He just happened to be feeding around there. Now, we're just checking the last road that I wanted to search before we go towards Chitwa. We're going to go down Inyala Road south. But the giraffe are all over. There's also a whole lot of giraffe at Chele Pan. I was hoping to catch them drinking. But I have to choose between waiting for giraffe to drink for water or to go and find elephants. And then elephants sort of trump giraffe in my books. Not because I don't think they're beautiful, because here we sit with one. But I do love to see a herd of elephants. They're really awesome. Stretching right up to the top and feeding on, I don't know what it's eating at the moment. Something with leaves that it's finding delicious and tasty. But there's a couple of them. And they sort of been... This herd has been hanging around between where we are now and then all the way towards Treehouse Dam. Haven't quite ventured up onto the open plains behind camp, which would be beautiful because that would be an awesome opportunity for proper silhouette photos. That would be nice because there's some points where you can sit down and quite low and then look up. Like I said, it's always nice to see the sky coming through the animal's legs, and it will be always spectacular when it's a giraffe, seeing as they're so far off the ground. Lara, you said that this giraffe has the most perfect mane. It does. He is lovely. Although he does look like he needs a little bit of a brush. I mean, I wouldn't mind taking a nice hard brush and brushing his mane. He'd probably like that quite a bit. Imagine all the ticks and things that must be living in there. I'm sure there'd be quite a few. But that was nice. Okay, let's carry on with our main goal. So, I'm just going to drive up here. So, I just wanted to tell you something very quickly as we drive up here. The first set of wildebeest have laid their feet down on Kenyan soil. How exciting is that? I've got friends that are down at Cotters, which is in the Masai Mara, right in the southern corner, like the southeastern corner of the Masai Mara. And it was an area that I didn't get to go and explore. I think it's on the other side of the Sand River. And it's beautiful down there, and they've said that they've got the first group that have crossed in. This is not a massive group, but the first group nonetheless, so that's quite exciting. So you can maybe go and have a look. I don't know if they've shared anything, but yeah, I saw a video today, which was awesome to see. That was good. But there was a bird that was chatting about, but I don't think it was at anything. I think it was just a testicular being a rattling testicular and rattling on. Now, of course, it's very exciting that finally the wildebeest are moving north. However, the wildebeest of Djuma, I don't think that they'll be going anywhere for some time.
Well, they're starting to move. We got a little bit of a fright a moment ago. They're all starting to follow the bull, the breeding male. This is his territory. I challenged him for a little while ago, but he has reclaimed it. And they're all, you can see they're all a little bit alert. When it's windy like this, it's a very trying time for an animal when you are made of meat, because things want to eat you. And every now and again something will spook them, and being herd animals, they will move together. There we go, something spooked them. One runs, two will run. Looking in very good nick. Do apologise for the back of the vehicle. Yes, Justin, I believe so. I believe we've had a lot more rain than we did the last previous years. We've just come out of a bit of a drought, so grazing better. But wildebeest have the knack to graze right low down, so they keep the grass sort of sprouting and sprouting and sprouting. Buffalo really struggle. They need a huge amount of bulk, and they feed on tall, longish grass. So the buffalo really took a toll last year. But wildebeest, they can move, and they feed really, really low down. So they can, all those little shoots coming up, they have that ability to access. Okay, well, we're going to move off from our wildebeest. Should we do another little shot with them, Sense? Or should we keep going? Let's go. Leave them to their drinking and their food soon. Lots of wildebeest tracks over there. Oh, well, there we go. They can't go very far without spotting some more animals. They've got the same thing in mind. While it's windy like this, sit down, each face a different direction, and chew the cud. Because we're not far away from where Thandi was seen last night, and animals like these, left on their own, are definitely prime meat.
It's not often that one is able to have a manicure out here, because, well, spas and that sort of thing don't really occur. And so when you are forced to maintain, as I am, in a state of slight length and good condition, for playing the guitar, Fergus.
Oh, okay.
Yes, for playing the guitar. Thank you. Thank you for clearing that up.
I wasn't sure if your abacus was broken.
No, not my abacus. No, one needs a sort of buffering agent out here, and this is the ideal plant. It is Erita emina, the sandpaper bush. There we go. It has a very sandpapery feel to it, and allows one to buff one's nails, if one should be so inclined. Beautiful. Oh, apparently there is some... Me? Steve?
Well, we were going to say something, James. I'm only joking. See how the wind has picked up again, and the impala is not too settled, and he's got an oxpecker that's landed him. That might be the annoyance. Yeah. Get off me, you. Imagine having those clawed feet holding onto you and just combing you. I don't know, I think it'd be quite nice. A little bit jumpy. The little 1-year-old is going to come through. There we go. He was born in November the year before. You can see by the size of the horns. He's learning from the big boys. Hang out with the bigger impala. Figure out exactly how to get through the day. The day-to-day existence of being an impala in an area littered with leopards and lions. We'll leave them to it. We're going to find lots of animals kind of on this side of the slope, I'm going to guess. That's the way it's going to be. Just going to do a loop around here and head on back towards the west. Herbie would like me to go and have a little look at one of the roads there, see if possibly some tracks came out of Shidulu. We did spend pretty much the entire morning with that female leopard, walking, looking in fine condition, I suppose. And she did look a little bit beaten up. Shame. Apparently she's expecting. We can't really tell. Where will she put her den? Will it be on Djuma if she is indeed pregnant? Will it be on Arathusa Simbambile? Hang on a second. Standing by, Herbie. Copy. Thanks very much. We'll head in that direction. Okay, let's go find ourselves some elephants, shall we? Herbie's just told me that he was out a little while ago, and he had lots of elephants in the north, heading towards Buffelshoek Dam. So that's always quite nice to see. I know Taylor's looking for some, so I'm sure if she heard that, she'll be on the radio to me, and then we can communicate exactly where we would like to go. Okay, well, while we continue on down this road, let's see what we can find. Let's go see exactly what Taylor's up to.
I cannot believe we didn't lose signal where we just were. That is unbelievable. Technology is weird. I don't think I'll ever be able to understand it, ever. I just have to add ever and twice there to emphasize how I do not understand how this works. Anyways, we're in Mulwati, which is a river system, a dry river system. As you can see, I'm not swimming. We're just boating around on the sand, and we're just using it to get all the way down to Gowrie, Main, and then from Gowrie, Main, we will go on to Chitwa, slowly but surely, and hopefully see a big herd of elephants, if we can make it there. We might get stuck in the sand before that even happens. It's looking so beautiful in here, though. It's like some of these little, actually, I'm to show you. This is what, if I was going to see any fairies, this is the kind of forest I'd imagine I'd be walking in, and pathway that I'd be going down, and I'd see a fairy. Okay, so look at it from, I'm not going to switch off because I'm going to drive past it and then you'll see the other route that I'm talking about. But you see all those exposed roots and pushed over trees? Doesn't look like much. In the golden light will be beautiful with all the leaf litter. But now watch as I drive slowly through. How pretty it is. See there, that's the part I like the most. Look at that. It's like nature's stairway going all the way from the top down, and it's all just roots, and that's a pathway that the animals use. I mean, I'm sure the elephants will be thankful for that. And then they're just littered with tamboti leaves, which are of course very, very pretty. To use your imagination, of course, but I think that that's quite beautiful, and the golden light would be really, really nice. A massive trees here, big boer beans and things too. Fauna, you said you'd absolutely love to see a fairy. Okay. Let me know what your experience is like when you see a fairy. I have not seen a fairy, I'm afraid. Yeah, no. I'm trying to think, have I seen a fairy flycatcher? I don't even think I've seen one of those. That's a bird. But it's really nice in here. Maybe we'll see a big python sunning itself on the sand. That would also be quite nice. We have seen one actually right here before. Remember that? And then it went and it slithered all the way up and onto this embankment. No snakey today. Maybe one day, maybe an owl. We have those big Burroughs eagle owls that are around here, not sitting on that tree, that's for sure. Anyways, we'll keep bumbling about through here until we get to Chitwa and find some elephants. Let's go see if Bushwalk has picked up on any lip tracks.
Well, what we have here is an explanation from Herbert as to why he thinks this is a Cokie Franklin. He says because of the gait. So I said to him, Herbert, what do you mean the gait? And Herbert did the following. Show us the gait of the Cokie Franklin. And again. How he thought that was different in some way from the gait of the crested Franklin, I'm not really sure. How is it different from the gait of the crested? All right, so apparently, as Herbert said there, I don't know if you saw that there, this is the Cokie, right? And the crested walks more like that, does it? With a longer gait, so it's got a longer stride, does the crested Franklin. That's wonderful. I won't ever forget that. That's brilliant, brilliant teaching. So Cokie Franklin, one of the 5 Franklin species that we get here. The most beautiful, I think, the gorgeous golden head, especially if you see them in amongst this golden sort of winter grass at sunset, then they are particularly spectacular. Luke, I believe you had a question about the sandpaper bush, did you? Yes, everyone is saying how much you love Herbie. We love him greatly ourselves. Oh, Laura, that's a very good question. Why would a leaf feel like sandpaper? Why would the plant go through the trouble of making something smell like sandpaper? I think you'll find the answer lies in making it unpalatable. So it makes it rough to eat, but is possibly physiologically not quite as expensive as making a toxin, or as structurally difficult as making a thorn. So it just has a rough kind of feeling to the leaf. I'm assuming that's what it is. Herbert, this is not ripe, correct? I can eat this. I've been waiting for this moment, everyone. This is the monkey pod. I just eat this seed, right? And the flesh. I just do it like that. Yeah, oh, Luke. And they're green, they smell horrible. Luke says, are they the ones that smell? And they do. They've got a nasty smell when they're not ripe. But they're actually pretty good. They're really nice. All right, I'm going to carry on having my little bush picnic. Stephen is mid-battle.
Yes, well, we have found a beautiful bird. and it has swapped itself around. We had at least one purple roller before, and he moved off, and there goes the... Oh, it is the purple. He moved and sends a quarter again. And in that picture, he looked as if he was a lilac-breasted, but you could see how streaky the chest was. It was almost having a little bit of a show-off with that starling. They're both quite sort of territorial birds in their own right. And what's interesting is you can see how he's perched. The way these birds perch themselves is in the direction of the wind, as we've spoken about before. And have a look at how he is moving in the wind there. You can see how the wind is moving him, hard to say. But if it just jumps up, the wind picks up those wings very, very easily, and off they fly in the direction they need to. The stalk and weight specialist, the purple and the lilac-breasted, looking on the ground for the movement of insects. I've never seen a roller walking around on the ground. Starlings trump them on that. But they do both compete for nesting sites. Both are using old woodpecker barbed holes and cavities of trees. So there's definitely competition there. But there'll be a slightly different sort of feeding competition between them. Although they would feed on similar sort of species or insects. A roller just a different ability to land. Marcy there are, and I'm sorry we had such a nice shot of him before in the light. It confused me because he'd moved. But you can see there's no streamers on the tail, which is characteristic of the lilac-breasted roller. And a very white supercilium in a white eyebrow stripe on the purple roller makes him very easy to identify. Very white flecks on a purple chest. See how well he's balancing on the wood there. And very windy. One of the least commonly seen rollers. Obviously when the European rollers are around, they are very, 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 very common. And the lilac-breasteds we see all the time, but the purple, which doesn't migrate, is still here. He's really struggling now. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Are you going to call for us, buddy? No. Into the wind it flies, and so shall we. Let's go forward, Sense. Kelson, you want to know about the woodland kingfishers? They generally return in middle to late November, somewhere around there. European rollers can come as early as late October, but the Europeans don't come and breed here. The woodlands come and breed. The woodland, oh, there's a ground scraper thrush. Whoa, he's gone. When it's windy like this, it's not normally that nice for birding because the birds really struggle, and we struggle to find them. So yeah, the woodland kingfishers generally around the 18th, 19th, 20th of November. I kid you not, those are the days that they come and they arrive. They just materialize. Okay, well, I think we're going over to tail. It's a little bit windy, but let's go see exactly if she's managed to get out of the Mwati drainage.
Yep. We have got out of the Mulwatu on Chitwa now. We're just bumbling about. I was just checking to see if I could see any elephants on their way in from Torchwood, which seems to be where they either come from that side or they come from a little bit further south. So nothing obvious that I could see coming this way. So we'll go back the other side now and see if we can pick up on a herd of ellies. I don't think we'll go to the dam straight away, because I can't see anything. We might go down into the drainage line in that direction, then up and around. It'd be nice to follow the elephants to the water today. That's if there's even going to be a herd that comes this side. Now, speaking of woodland kingfishers, I think it's too early to start the bets. We try and remember how we have these bets No one's actually betting on anything. It's just all, well, there we are, but it's fun and games. No one's making any money out of it except you get bragging rights, which is awesome. And I can't remember who got the closest last year. Oh, look at Battis. Where are you going to sit? It's just over there. Very pretty. There it is. Little black and white in colour. Oh. Where did it go? Oh, you got it. Ah, very nice. So it's a little chin spot better. So you got it. Australian, there we go. Looks like the male. Nope. Not wanting to really be seen. It's somewhere in there. Let's see if we can spot it. Would you have ever thought that black and white would have camouflaged so well on sort of grey vegetation with a little bit of green and reds and yellows here and there? I didn't. Nah, I think it's flown off. I think it's giving us a slip. Anyway, that was a Battis. Very small little birds. But I didn't really actually get a good view to properly sex it next time. Okay. Yeah, the wind is not great. I really can't remember what the dates were. Oh, yes, thank you. Sorry, I lost my trail of thought there. So I can't remember when everybody guessed last year. I'm sure one of you watching would have taken note as to when everyone thought the woodland kingfishers would come back. I think everyone's guesses were like in September or October. Somewhere around there. But again, it's still maybe by the end of July we can start. I think it's a bit early now. I think we need to see what happens. If we're going to get rain early this year, is it going to stay dry? These things are, of course, very difficult to predict. Ask the weathermen on TV. They get it wrong all the time. I wouldn't like to be in their position. That's for sure. Okay, now, again, this is such a good area because it's drying out so much. You can start to see a lot. And you definitely be able to spot a big herd of elephants. You can also start to really see where water is now, because everywhere that's green means that there's quite a bit of water around. So as we drive, it's very dry immediately to the left and right of us. But then as you go down and to the left, into the Mulwanini drainage system, then you start to see a couple more trees that have got fairly green leaves or still holding onto their leaves for a little bit longer. Oh, monkey. Monkeys. There's two, but they're running. They're not. These are shy ones. Right, if you were sleeping, now you'll all be awake. Oh, there they go. Who's going to keep going back? Oh, they've run. They're still running to the left. Now, I don't know if we're going to get a view. They're two vervet monkeys, just the two of them, but they're quite shy. I don't think can you see them, Seb? I can't either. Okay, 5 vervet monkeys. They don't want to be seen. They're obviously not the DRC crew that hang around. I believe the baboons were in camp again today. What a nightmare those things can be. What a nightmare. They're too clever for their own good. Oh, okay. Something apparently has got Steve quite curious. It seems as though he's listening. Let's go and see what he's listening to.
Well, I was listening. I heard something quite strange, but then we got a bit closer and there was a whole lot of crested francolins just kind of hanging about. So nothing there of too much interest. So we'll carry on. This is kind of an area that Tundi likes to have Kalamba in and around. So who knows, we might be lucky when it's windy like this. The predators seem to just get up and move, and it's cooler today than it was yesterday afternoon, and we found Tundi. What's that, Senz? Where'd you see that? Okay, Senzo spotted something in the distance. I haven't quite seen. Okay, I've seen it now. We're going to move up. But when it's windy like this, you often find predators moving. And it's a little bit cooler than yesterday, so who knows what we could find. Maybe Tony didn't have enough nyala last night. How's that sense? Look at what we have found. A beautiful elephant. Using the tusks to move Looks like it's only got one tusk. Was this the one seen on the dam can today? Using its tusks to move the branches out the way and to feed on the best and nutrient-rich grasses that might be growing in the shade of the tree, as well as the very nice sort of, that looks like a flaky bark acacia there that's sticking out. Oh no, it's not. It's a river thorn. Very selective in their feeding, elephants. They'll stick their head in there, bash everything out the way that they need to, and then with the smell of the trunk will be able to grab anything that they can or need, whatever their desired choice of food is. And there's a young bull. Is this the guy we maybe saw last night on Foot Sends? It might be. Hello, sir. I love bulls. Look how he's going to... Okay, he's going to have a toilet stop while he tries to assess whether we're any threat to him. As he stands there, one leg a little bit poised, trying to... Okay, he's done the member drop. He's showing us that he is not willing to fight. He's being submissive. A four-legged elephant suddenly became five-legged. Hello, young sir. Come say hello. We're just being very friendly here. Now, that is displacement feeding at its best, folks. So there's a guarri bush. Guarris are not edible. What are you doing? Apparently, they're not browsed upon, guarris. If you've never heard the term displacement feeding before, that is what an animal does when it is when it's trying to show you that it's not bothered. It's just resting one of the feet. I wonder if you enjoyed that mouthful of bitterness. You can see by the wagging tail that he's fine. Just going to move forward an inch. Sands, is it okay to move forward an inch? Completely relaxed to the vehicle. But he still gives us a watchful eye there. Like a horse. Anybody ridden a horse? The horse knows exactly what you're doing on the back. It's looking backwards. Elephant is looking directly at us now, even though it's kind of pretending it's not. And indeed, he is feeding on a magic guarri. That can't be very nice. You all saw my face the other day, and he's sticking branches of it in. Maybe he's got a bit of a stomach problem. He's looking for a little bit of luck. Carla, you know, these elephants feed with their tusks, and look how stained that one is from vegetation. And quite often you'll get an elephant, and we regard them as left or right-handed, meaning they use their left or right tusk over the other one. And if it used the left tusk quite a lot, it's possible it was broken in a branch or a tree, or he bit off more than you can chew, so to speak, and possibly broke it. But I'm not sure. Might have even been in a little bit of a battle with an older bull, but I doubt that is the case. Sometimes you get weaknesses in teeth. Tusk is essentially just an enlarged tooth. Possible that it broke off in a tree while feeding. It's still quite a young animal to have broken a tusk, though, especially in a fight. I wouldn't even put this guy at 20 years of age yet. He's younger than that, between 18, probably 18, 19 years of age. He's probably only recently started meandering on his own. And Herbie told me on the radio that there is a breeding herd of elephant earlier he saw in the area. So it's possible that he's slowly meandering after them. Wow, Monique, that's a very interesting question. Monique wants to know if the aim of an elephant when it charges you is to stab you with its tusks or run you over. Well, Monique, the first purpose is why is the elephant charging you? That's where we need to consider what are we doing wrong. And second of all, the elephant, yes, can quite easily run you over. But what happens is most of the time when an elephant runs towards you, it's trying to intimidate you because it's afraid of you. It's trying to make you move off. So by making itself look bigger and taller, generally it makes you turn and run away. And if you do turn and run away, which is what you don't do in the bush. You never run. That elephant will catch you, and it will stand on you, and it probably will penetrate you with its tusk and squash you. So it's best to just stand your ground. And if the elephant then notices that you're not scared of it, it loses confidence and generally turns away. But I don't know if the aim of the elephant at all is to do anything to you. It's just to intimidate you. But once you then play the game of running away, then it can't help itself but try and do something. I can't believe how it's enjoying this magic worry. Really, really enjoying it. Carla, a big broken tusk like that will never grow back, no. There will be an element of it that will probably keep growing. It's constantly growing through the life of an elephant, but it'll never regain the same sort of length. Oh, I wonder if you heard that. A bit of a tummy rumble, followed by a bit of flatulence. That is, magic worry is an instantaneous diarrhea purgative we've spoken about. So immediately his body responded to it, and who knows what will happen soon. Be careful, it might come out at both ends, so we will watch closely, but be prepared for the worst if it does indeed happen. So he's a little bit warm, starting to every now and again flap those ears just to cool himself down. But we're probably going to move on from this enormous, well, medium-sized elephant, and it looks like Bushwalk team has found a very small specimen.
Well, yes, it is a small robber fly, much smaller than it would seem to you looking at it on your screen. Oh, he's still there, he's still there. Now, what he's doing is living on an old termite mound, or he's hunting on an old termite mound, which will almost certainly have ants living on its surface and in the little cavities that are left. And that's what this robber fly, I suspect, is after. He's quite nippy, isn't he? Let's just keep watching him. At the moment, I think he's just trying to stay warm because the wind is, well, it's not cold, but it's certainly a little bit chilly, and so he's trying to stay out of it and keep his hemolymph, which is his blood, nice and warm. So if he does see an ante or something like that he wants to eat, he's limber and quick enough to grab it. I mean, I say that there should be ants there, but I'm looking with my binoculars at the mound and I can't see anything. So maybe he's more hopeful than anything else. You still see him there. But that is a robber fly. Many different species of robber fly we get here. I can't tell you more about what species he is other than to say he is a kind of a robber fly. And of course insects at this time of the year we don't see a great deal of. Jason, not like a tsetse fly, no. A tsetse fly looks like a house fly but with a sort of sharp back end. So instead of being a triangle, he's sort of like a diamond shape almost. And otherwise they look like a house fly. They don't have an abdomen like that. The tsetse fly, of course, used to be very common in this area until the Rinderpest of 1896, I think it was, that wiped out all of the livestock and wildlife of this area, and in so doing wiped out what the tsetse fly was eating. And the tsetse fly, mercifully, has never made a return here. I'm not entirely sure why, because in other parts of Africa where it was wiped out, it most certainly did return, and parts of the Serengeti are good examples of that, although it has not returned to the Masai Mara, for example. And for those of you who don't know what the tsetse fly is, it's a nasty, as I said, rhombus-shaped fly that gives you something called trypanosomiasis or nagana or sleeping sickness. They're all the same thing. Basically, you get very sleepy and eventually you drop dead. Very unpleasant. I don't want to drop dead. Nor does Stephen, and nor does the elephant he's looking at.
No, he does not. And indeed, this elephant has moved from his delicious meal of guarri onto one of the favoured foods of the elephant is the knobthorn. And I have no doubt he chose that quarry to maybe alleviate any tummy problems he might have. And now onto richer feedings and back down into the drainage depression. What's he doing? Sense? A little bit of a dig. Amanda, I certainly think animals will seek out medicinal plants if they're not feeling well. I mean, I've said this a couple of times, but in the permaculture sort of standpoint, the sustainable sort of agriculture, if you plant medicinal plants in your garden, and chickens move around, ducks move around, they'll physically eat them when they're not feeling well. They'll choose those plants. So I have no doubt that most wildlife have the ability to selectively choose certain plants when they're not feeling well. Something that they've maybe learnt over time, or they just instinctively know, ooh, I don't like that. Like, who teaches dogs and cats to eat grass to cause them to vomit? They just do it. Whether they know it or not, there seems to be an attraction to it. For example, anyone's ever shown their cat catnip, the cat goes absolutely crazy. Oh, he's playing hide and seek there, Sens. Hide and seek. Can big elephant disappear? You got him? Not the best shot of him, I'm afraid. But that is the story where most animals are going to be hiding today, is in these little depressions. And that is where you'll find a lot of the browsing animals and the elephants and the giraffe, because there's access to water deep down in the sand, and the trees then have very good sort of foliage and obviously the nutrients that these animals require. An elephant like that is going to be eating all day long. Yeah, Brie, exactly. I have no doubt that they probably get some sort of stomach complaint. I mean, the elephant's digestive system is enormous. So I'm sure that something happens along the way from time to time. But they're constantly eating plants. And, oh, there's another one. Another one in the distance. We'll go around. They're constantly eating. We go in this little spot here. It was moving that way, Sense. We might get him better from the other side there. There's our fellow. Yeah, I think it'll be better to go back and around. Oh, they're busy fighting, those two young bulls. Can you see them, Sense? Go down, eh? Two young bulls having a bit of a play over there. I don't know if we're going to get it. You got it, Sens. Not very good sighting. We might get a better view from the top here, don't you think? Come around this way. That might be better. Let's go back the way we came. Hold on, folks. Okay, well, we're going to see if we can get around and get another view of these beautiful elephants. As the... sorry, I just got very blinded there. But in the meantime, let's go see if Taylor's made her way over to Chitwa.
Oh, we've already done a loop on Chitwa. We had a little look around, but we're back now. We're back on Juma. I don't know what's happened to all the hippos of Chitwa Dam, but they're gone. There's like maybe 10 or 15 hippos there, no jokes. They obviously didn't come back after yesterday. Yesterday, I feel like the whole population of the Sabi Sands hippopotamus were on. Sorry, I just saw Inyala staring at this direction, and then babblers losing their minds. What? The Inyala? Yeah, that's what the Nyalas that are staring back there. Something might be in here. Let's just check. Because there's a lot of birds making a noise here. So important to listen to what the bush is saying. Sometimes it just tells you stories, you see. There's a pair of even white-browed scrub robins. Just, I think that's James's favorite bird. And yeah, then, alarming. Can you hear that? Hello, pretty bird. Inyana aren't just hopping about. That's very cool. Nice to see that bird. You don't get to see them very often. I don't know what they're going on about because Inyana didn't make a sound. They were just looking. No. Go Wendy. Third time lucky. I don't know if it was maybe something like a slender mongoose that ran through and then the birds were alarming at it and then Nyala were just checking. That could have happened. It could be a small little predator. That wouldn't necessarily be a threat to an Inyala. They wouldn't alarm for something like that. Just going to look in here carefully. Sandy loves it around here too. Absolutely loves it. Could even be Tlalamba. Alright, I'm just listening. Everyone is shouting.
Yeah.
Nah, we're going in. Let's try to find a way in here. Don't know how we're going to get in though. This is a problem. No, there's actually with this, I don't think we're going to be able to with this bushwalk backpack. See, that's a bummer. Well, there's an old 2-track. Let's try our luck. Watch. Okay, we're going to have a quick squiz down here. There seems to be a 2-track of sorts. Maybe it's Tlalamba that's stirring about, but off we go back to bushwalk to see what's happening there.
Whoa. Oh, there you are. That was another poor attempt at a joke, I'm sorry. What I thought we'd talk about here, in the absence of large mammals, for example. Luke says he enjoyed it, that's very kind. What we have here is a sapling of a tree, and so what I wanted to discuss is this concept of bush encroachment. And as we go towards fire season, and people talk about fire and its use as a bush encroachment sort of mitigating factor, and as we talk about why bush encroachment happens, this is quite a nice example here. Okay, so this is after a very good year of rain. We've had good rain, and so you can see all the grass here is quite tall. Now the only place that this tree has managed to sprout is in a space where there are no grass seedlings. Okay, now you can rest assured that the seed that begat this Acacia exuvialis, or not Acacia, Vachellia exuvialis tree, was not alone when it arrived here. There must have been lots and lots of them, possibly hundreds. But the grass is very thick here, and the only place it germinated was an area that doesn't have much grass on it. And so what it would have done is send down a taproot, a long root. You might be able to pull this. Taproot has got beyond the surface of the soil and has got into the water table, and now it's on its way to becoming a full tree. On the other hand, we've got the grasses for this water. So in a year...
Well, something is going on with James's machinery there. I'm not quite sure what. Maybe he lay down in the grass for too long. But we are now slowly moving in this direction. So we've come around onto the road, sort of the T-junction, to see if we can get them moving through. There's something quite special to spend time with a herd that comes towards you. Obviously, they'll come as close to us as they feel they need to, or as they feel safe to do so. And sometimes they can be very, very close, which is really, really cool. I haven't got anything yet, though. Do you, Sens? But we're hoping for them to come out somewhere over there. somewhere over there, moving straight in this drainage depression. Maybe they've stopped to feed again, so this could take some time, but we've got our patience pants on and we're willing to wait. We don't do any off-road driving for elephants. Hello, Veronica. You want to know how old the bulls are when they're forced to leave? Well, it's not a set rule, but bulls can be anywhere from between 12 and 17 when they get pushed out, and it all depends on when exactly they start showing interest in their sisters, their aunties, their mother even. And as soon as they start showing interest, that means walking up to them and taking the trunk and smelling the private parts. Then it's time to go, young fella. And that's when they get pushed out, and they end up following the herd for some time until, you know, they finally realize that they're not welcome there anymore. And it's just basically a sexual sort of inbreeding thing. As soon as they start showing interest, it's time for them to go. Well, we're hoping they're going to come out. Do you think I'm in the right spot, Sens? Yeah, Sens is agreeing. This drainage line will go all the way up to Buffelshoek Dam, so it makes sense that that's probably where they slowly are moving. Well, it seems like James is back and they've sorted out his problems.
I think they did sort out the problem. I had a few winks while they were doing it. Anyway, I'm sorry about that. So, we had the adventitious... How far did we get? Luke? Yes, I was on adventitious routes, which I'm sure everyone was utterly fascinated about. Okay, so let me pull out some more routes for you. Right, so there's the adventitious routes of the grass plant. Fergus is shooting from this angle because if he sits down, he'll lose signal. So they're the adventitious roots. Now, what happens in a year of good rain, as I said, is that the soil contains a seed bed. And in the seed bed, you'll find lots of tree seeds, you'll find lots of grass seeds, and all sorts of other seeds in between. And in a year of good rain, the grasses are at an advantage because they're able to take advantage of the water as it hits the ground, and they germinate quickly. In a year of bad rain, what happens is that the tree seedlings manage to get there. If they do germinate, the lack of competition from grasses means that they can get beyond the grass adventitious root system layer and put their taproots down into the much deeper water, and then they take hold like this. So good rains are not good for bush encroachment. Bad rains are good for bush encroachment. And so as we head toward a time of potential climate warming, well, not potential, it is happening, there is a great fear that many of our rangelands will increasingly become thicker and full of woody species, also because, of course, they will thrive in a more carbon-rich environment or carbon-rich atmosphere than the grasses will. That is my small lesson on bush encroachment today, and I will just do this once more. I wish to tell you that it's very pleasant lying here, and it's pleasant lying here because the smell is of dry grass and dust, one of my favourite smells in the world. So I'm just going to settle in for a little while.
James is copying me. That's all I'm saying, is that he's a copycat today, because that's what I was doing on bushwalk this morning. It was literally just having a snooze at Chele Pan, waiting for you to keep coming back to me. And it was nice. It was very cozy. But we found our favorite animal, not owl, because it might not be your favorite, but it's my favorite animal in the whole wide world, the elephants. And I don't think that this is the same herd that Steve had. I think it might be a different one. Although I don't really know where Steve is, but if he was looking for Sheduli, he'd probably further to the west and to the north, not quite all the way to the east. Obviously nothing came from the birds we heard alarming. We off-roaded, we found a nice big open area, and the Inyala were also looking where the birds were shouting, but nothing that I could see. Whatever it was hiding from us and didn't want to be on the show today. But this is a lovely, who are you? A lovely young boy. Hello, you lovely young boy. Ali, I feel like I've been asked this question before and I've forgotten it. I don't know how many taste buds an elephant has, but I'm sure that they have got a few. They probably have got more than us as humans. They're like, we don't, in comparison to some of the other animals out here, even birds have got more taste buds as us as humans. They seem to have well, not a larger vocabulary, because that doesn't make any sense, but you get the gist of it anyways, that they've got it seems to be able to taste a few different things. What are you eating? It's eating some kind of herb at the moment. Sorry, this elephant over here, I'm just watching it. What are you eating? Are you eating Weltharias? Are those tasty? Are those even nice to eat? There are lots of Weltharias growing here. It could be another kind of a herb. I'm having a good old time chewing away. And then I'm hoping I'll be able to see it nicely when it feeds here. But at some point, Seb, if you see those ticks on its chest and you can get a shot sort of just between its legs, let me know. You might be able to see one. Oh, here we go, that white thing. You see that? If you look very carefully to the right, you'll see there's just a few branches, obviously, from the elephant feeding. How incredible is that? That tick has managed to get through that thick skin. Wow. If any of you are wondering if elephants got ticks, now you can clearly see it. They don't seem to be covered in ticks. I definitely don't think elephants get as many ticks as, say, something like an impala, just because there's not a lot of body hair. Well, there's body hair, but, you know, their skin is quite thick, so it's difficult. So they're limited as to which areas they can go. I'm sure they have a huge gathering of ticks in their ears, underneath their tails, and then sort of probably around the folds of skin in between their legs as well. They get a couple that are about. Now, this is quite a placid scene that we've got here of elephants feeding. It seems as though Steve's elephants have turned it up.
Yeah, well, it's just teenage boys, I suppose, Taylor, having a little bit of fun. One is in the road, and the other one is hiding in the bush. And he's going to come out. He's busy breaking up that African weeping wattle. And then every now and again, the two of them, there we go. Watch out for it. Here he comes. There he goes. Oh, very important. Young boys need to play. Need to push. It's very important they get that technique down if they ever want to be a dominant bull. They're still far from it, but no one jumps into the ring with Mike Tyson without a bit of practice. Well, no smart person anyway. And these two are probably the ones we saw fighting earlier. There's nothing serious. It's really just a bit of technique and a bit of youngsters getting out there, letting off some steam as they follow the breeding herd behind. I'm not sure where the herd is now. They haven't popped out, but I think they might be still in the drainage depression, slowly moving in the same direction. Yeah, they're just down below us in the drainage. We can hear the feeding. You hear the branches cracking. They're in no rush towards getting some water at Buffelshoek Dam. Maybe they've come from somewhere else, but that's generally what they do. They'll go in and move, they'll feed, drink, and then move towards the next feeding spot, or do a big loop and end up coming back again. There we go, there's one on the opposite side there. A couple of them anyway. A small breeding herd. Their favourite areas to be is in these little depressions where they can get adequate food. There's an enormous amount of food down there, and they move through them, you know, from time to time, and they cause all sorts of damage and break all sorts of things, but it's a very natural process for this environment. They open it up a bit as well, remove certain smaller saplings, damage some trees, which then can lead to them creating the habitat for the woodpeckers and the starlings that we saw earlier, the roller we saw earlier. There we go, a little bit of aggression is out the way. Time for feeding. Constantly feeding in the elephant society. Okay, well, we're going to see if anything more materializes from these guys, but in the meantime, Taylor's got a very cool bunch herself.
I do, and I've been watching this little one who's now wondering, Ray, come back. Come back here, please. Maybe it's going to go around the bushes and come around again. Oh, I see why it's going there, Sebastian. It's found a friend. You can see that there was another trunk just off to the right. We're just stuck in the thickets, but they are pushing through this way, so I think if we're patient, you can just see them there. They're just moving around, but they're coming this way. Looks like 2 or 3 older calves. They might be the older sibling of that little one. So, oh, there's a whole bunch of them. Come on round. They just need to push through. Okay, what I'm going to do, Seb, is I can move off the road just slightly. Not much. Just it's a bit open here. Okay. Yo. Sorry, I caught a stick there. I don't off-road for elephants. I'm just moving like 10 meters off the road, though, so we can get a view. Also listening, it sounds like the tortured pride have gone back to the Kruger National Park now, sorry. There we go. So how beautiful is that? They're going to come out and play. Now, I don't really know what the relationship between those 3 elephants are, because the little one is just venturing off to the back, as you can see. But very curious about them. They don't necessarily need to be brother and sister to have a decent relationship. Very, very social creatures. And I'm sure, just like with humans, how you would have your favorite, you know, your favorite group of people. I'm sure it's the same. I'm sure they have preference over one another. They're all just happily just feeding. It's nice. Yeah, I really wish that little one would come back, or at least start playing, because it's quite a curious little thing. It was very sweet. It had to fight with a guarri bush at one point. I don't know if it was itchy or if it was annoyed with the guarri tree. Where are you going? It's a wanderer, that one. Oh, it's fine. You know what, Seb? Let's go back. It's wandering because it's found another little elephant of its own size, and it's now following that one there. I think we might, if we go back, we might get them coming towards us. Funny creatures, elephants, especially when they're so small. Okay, so they were just on the other side of this termite mound, and there were 2 of them now. Quite young. Ah, yes, there they are. Maybe one of them belongs to this big cow. Here they come. Trouble 1 and trouble 2. Oh, yes, look how big you are. This is great, especially when you have them together and they've got one another to egg each other on. You know when you were young and you were naughty and you did silly things, you often didn't do them on your own. You did them because you had someone else in your friend group that was encouraging you. And this is what could happen here. Oh, trouble. What you got? You guys be careful up on that little mound. I can't believe how far they've wandered away, or the one has wandered away from Mom. Very brave, the one on the right, who's the smaller one of the 2. I would put their ages, that one on the left just under 6 months old, and I think the other one maybe only about 3 months, maybe 4 months old. Not teeny tiny, but young elephants. Yes. So the one on the left is the wanderer, and the reason why I know that is because it's been swishing its tail around quite a bit. I don't know if something has been stinging it. That would explain why it was sort of having a bottom fight with a guarri bush, like I said. I think is annoying it. How can you not love these animals? Robin, you have no idea how precious these animals are. Like, they are so, so exciting. Just the way that they go. And like I said, they go on a little mini adventure. Wandering away from their parents, not desperately trying to use their trunk. Sorry, I don't think he's strong enough or quite have the skills just yet to pull that root out of the ground. You might need Mom's help or older siblings' help, but you can see it's working on a root there. It's going. See the way it almost put its trunk in a fist and smashed it on the floor. It was like it was frustrated and went, no! Like, you know, if you were to, like, hit the table or something. Yes, yes, keep going. Keep coming, little one. Keep charging. Very scary. I promise I will not laugh if he charged me. We all know that's a lie. And of course, this little elephant has seen Mom or older sibling behave like this, and they've normally seen the tourists panic and turn their cars on and race away. It's obviously going for the same effect there, but it's not working. Sometimes a little hill helps, though, when your legs are still small and you need a bit of a head start. it might turn up that hill and then come running down. Let's hope for that. No, you're going the wrong way now. There's no one that side. Look at all those legs. Oh. Where are you going? No one's going back now. No, come this way. I just wish they could understand me. I was having just a party by itself now. Can you come this way to the right, please, so you are away from the trees? No, not having any of it. Hopefully it will turn back and come on this way again. I got distracted by something now. This might have been what I was like as a child. Running around, playing with one thing, and then seeing something else, and thinking, ooh, that's shiny. Playing with that. I think I left a lot of toys laying around as a kid, especially outside. Yes, you've gone too far from mom. Come back. Come back this way, please. See, I don't want to move around too much because there is a big cow, and she wasn't... we drove past her, and she sort of stood out and showed herself to us as if to say, I'm here. I don't want her to do that again, so I'll just wait all the way back here and let this little elephant come and play with us. But lost interest completely. But somebody else that'll be very excited that the elephants are around, or to have the elephants around. I'm so sorry, Seb, to draw your attention away from that alias. I've just spotted a little francolin just moving through here. And I think it was just a moment ago, it was digging in some elephant dung. So, very nice for that francolin. Might have to wait a little while, though, before any insects and things like that start gathering around the dung. But a good spot to be. Good spot to be. Not a lot of moisture around, so insects are definitely attracted by fresh dung. Off it goes. Also, if we hear francolin alarming, we know how close it was. No, little elephants are gone. Let me reverse. Okay, well, we'll reposition and see if we can find our naughty little friends again. Let's go back to the bushwalk team.
We're also finding little friends. Chin spot batises have been flying around us, alarm calling. We initially thought it must be because there are thousands of leopards all over the place, but it wasn't. It was because of us. They're just such sweet little birds. In the same place they were, Ferg. They've done a whole loop around here. There's a dispute of some sort. I think it's probably territorial. There they are. You see on the end of that... ends of the trees there, can you see them? Come in here, let's have another look. From time to time he catches a glimpse, says Fergus. Come in this way. I think they are territorial, and I think they're probably having a territorial dispute. Unless, like a honey guide, they're trying to lead us to a predator. We'll just go to this termite mound, to the top of it, and then we'll stop. Because they don't seem to be wanting to wait for us. We couldn't find any tracks of Shidulu, I'm afraid. So I think she has squandered for now. Might keep us time. Let's just go up here. I can still hear them going. Whew, the wind is starting to blow. No, the birds are gone. Anyway, what else I can show you, while you listen to them making their noise, is how smoky and hazy the air is. And that's because there's a wind, so it's blowing winter dust up into the air. But also, you've seen how dry the grass is. which means even from now we're going to have the odd fire that comes through these areas, and that's going to fill the air with smoke, which in turn is going to turn the sunset a very gorgeous red colour. I feel like I've dreamt about this termite mound. It is a very disquieting feeling. Ooh. Disquieting feeling dissipates. Anyway, that was a fairly failed attempt at trying to find the chin spot batters. We're going to continue valiantly trying for leopard tracks right now.
We're just sneaking past an ellie cow because our elephants moved off. They're all playing down there, I think out of the wind. I don't think they really want to be in the wind today. That might be the end of our elephant sighting. They're all happily feeding between this sort of area. I don't know where they're going to pop out. Maybe they'll go down into the drainage line. We're lucky to have seen elephants today, considering the weather. I really didn't think we were going to see much at all. But we did get lucky. I'm going to put my big coat on in a minute. It's freezing this afternoon. Shorts was not a great idea, that's for sure. Should have worn the long pants. You won't hear me saying that very often, that's for sure. Okay, I don't know where we're going to go next. We might take a little drive to Buffelshoek. And hopefully we'll find something that side. But let's go and see how Steve's adventures are going off in the northwest.
Well, thanks, Taylor. We also left our elephants. They were very slowly feeding in the drainage depression there. I just heard a little bird here. It was one of the chagra species. Very skulky, very hard to find unless you're alive when they jump out. They don't stay around very long. You can hear him just off there. That's where the name chagra comes from, because of that sound that it makes. He's just at the back there. I'm going to guess it's a brown crown chagra, purely because we see so many more of them. I can see him, Sens. Can you see him? Behind this first bush. Here we go. It's just moved off to the left there. Very hard to get on camera, though. Did get a look at his head. It was indeed the brown crown chagra. He's just flittering around in the back. Those of you who are new to the show and have no idea what noises I'm making, I'm kind of mimicking an alarm call that birds quite often respond to, and especially the skulky hiding ones. They come out and try and see what's going on. Where's the snake? Where's the owl? And it's a good way of seeing the very sort of hidden ones, like the chakras. One more attempt, and we're going to move off. Well, he doesn't want to be found. Chagras are actually part of the shrike family, a very similar sort of beak. Maybe I should just show you a picture instead of talking all this nonsense. There we go. Let's quickly get in there as we wait for it to load. Part of the shrike family, so they'll feed on insects, maybe a small snake or lizard from time to time. Yeah, I'm going to turn that way, Senzi. It just takes a moment sometimes. There we go. Let's get it open. Got to remember how to spell So here's the brown-crowned chagra. There is a drawing of him, very beautiful. And you see he's got the very sharp, hooked beak there, very, very characteristic of the shrike family. And you can see their occurrence. They're quite common in the savannas. There he is. Judy, you want to know why we call birds and not other animals? Well, I suppose other animals is quite hard to call them, really, and I suppose that the ethicalness of calling other birds might be a little bit something to pay attention to. Bird watching. Hello, Taylor. It looks like she's following us this way. Here's some people off to the left. We've found the other part of the bush activity team. So, you know, other animals I don't think really respond to the calls. I mean, by doing a territorial call for a leopard or a lion, there's ethics behind that, I suppose. But bird watching as a thing, bird watching as a thing, that sort of alarm call calling is the way of getting skulky birds out. And from an ethical point of view, if you're going to play a bird call, you play it once, then you move 50 meters to 100 meters, you play it again, just to get that bird interested to see how it comes out. It's a technique used in bird watching. Maybe we need to question the ethics of that as well. But I don't think it's a problem. In the breeding season, something you have to really pay attention to. Okay, well, we're going to have a little chat with Taylor here and see exactly what they're up to. In the meantime, let's go and see if James is having another nap in the grass.
We found some termites. We're initially a little bit confused as to which kinds of termites they are, but we're fairly convinced that they are the fungus-growing termites. Now, I was just saying to her and Fergus, what's so amazing about this, that obviously this is not an organism that you think consciously, that we know of anyway. There might be great termite philosophers, but I'm not sure about that. Each hole, and there are about, I don't know, there are quite a few holes around here, has got at least one soldier, like this one, standing sentry, normally two. And then if you watch very carefully, and if I'm still and I don't blow too hard, see, that's a little bit of alarm. He's showing alarm, which will keep the workers away. But if we sit still for long enough, the workers will start to emerge, and you'll see them putting their soil around this hole, and indeed packing the walls of the tunnel. So how they know to do that, how they know that two soldiers must come up here, the rest, 10 or 12, a work party of 10 or 12 must go to the hole to pad it and cement it and make it safe, or dig it for the place. Now look at this. Look here. Look. See that? Did you see that? They just drag down a large piece of stick that they'll plant in the fungus garden. Let's help them here. See what happens. Normally this results in some kind of disaster for the animal, but I'm hoping this won't do that. And while we wait to see if this chap is out, their mound is quite a long way away. It's over there. And that's about, well, about 30.
Oopsie doopsie. Sorry everybody. Gremlins are working hard on the bushwalk team at the moment. They were doing the same thing to us this morning. It's very unfair of them. Anyways, we're bumbling now. I'm just driving around hoping that Tundi is going to pop out in front of the car, but I'm not feeling too optimistic about it. So we're just enjoying the scenery and the vegetation and all the wonderful things. Nothing so far. And it seems as though Steve and I were looking at the same herds of elephant, just on either side of it, which is quite funny. It's a big group, really big herd of them. We might catch them again. I said to Steve, if he went round, he may see them, but we lost all view. Okay, what's going to be around the next corner? Nice and open here now. Man, I love winter. This is a great time of the year. It's so nice to be able to see into the bushes. And the colours are just so stunning. It's nice to also see the greenery, of course, in the summer months. but nothing really compares to this time of the year in the Sabi sand. There's a fork-tailed drongo just sitting up over there. Robin, you said I've definitely had the best side of the Ellies. Maybe. Now this drongo is chirping. I want to hear what it's saying. It's mimicking. Who are you sounding like? Who chirps like that? That's a very drongo mechanical sound though, but that chirp, chirp, chirp. I've heard that before, not coming from a drongo. Maybe there's another little bird that's feeding and it is just mocking it. Pretty chatty little bird. Up to no good. I feel like fork-tailed drongos are always up to no good. But let's carry on, thank you. Little fork-tailed drongo was perfect timing because it just actually flew off of the branch. Okay. Sure. Lots of rhino dung and tracks all around at the moment. Okay, I've just seen some footprints in the sand that are making me quite curious. Let's go to Steve and see if he's back at the better end of the herd of elephants.
Well, indeed, it seems we might have been looking at the same herd, but I think they stretched out for an enormous distance. Many different species, or many different elephants in a herd. A couple of aggregations, or an aggregation of elephant herds. We've come all the way around again, obviously leaving McCurdy and Seb to their wanderings. And we're going to see if we can possibly bump them again, and then slowly make our way back in towards the west. Maybe it'll be the time of the day when Shadulu will materialize, as leopards tend to do. Maybe after her long wanderings this morning, she's a little bit tired, and she'd maybe like to have a little bit of a drink. Wow. That was an elephant. Did you hear that? Sound like a child. Very naughty child. This is the other part of the herd. It's like a loud... There's a little youngster. That's what I've been wanting to see today. There's nothing quite as special as seeing a young elephant, especially when they run towards you and look all brave and tough. Very scary they are. Let me just push forward a little bit. Superbikes, well, interesting question you ask. Elephants are able to walk on the first hour or so of birth. You can just see that female is busy ripping up a plant to get the roots out. They're able to, you know, once they're born, they're pretty much good to go. A little unsteady on their feet, but most animals in the animal kingdom are born with the ability to walk. The predators and primates tend to be a little bit less, or what we'd call altricial. Let me just push forward there. We get two terms out here. We get precocial, which is basically an animal that is pretty much ready to move around from birth, and you get altricial. The most altricial animal in the world would have to be a human, because we are completely helpless from birth. With closed eyes, we can't move around, we can't feed ourselves. And so out in the animal kingdom, to generate precocial youngsters, ones that are able to walk and move around from birth, means that they have to be born at a much later stage of development. So they spend longer in the gestation period, or the pregnancy period is longer. It enables them to move around sooner. That's a very good adaptation if you're on the move, you're a herd on the move. You can't stick around, you can't have a den site, you can't stay in one area, or there are predators lurking around. You can't just lie down on the ground. You either need to get up with the herd and move off, or you stay there and get eaten. So it was quite a good adaptation or evolutionary trait to move with the herd for safety. Bev, elephants do have the potential to dig. In sandy riverbeds, most certainly they will dig. Definitely in the sort of the bends of the river, they can smell the water quite deep underneath. And they're able to dig with their feet, and then sand filtered water they drink up. But it also depends on how deep the water is. But they are smart enough to do that. And they're also very smart in these national parks to know exactly where the pipes and stuff are for camps. And if water is questionable or dirty, they will quite quickly figure out how to get the clean water flowing into your shower or into the buildings nearing a camp. They'll even dig it out, so you have to be very careful. These big sort of water tanks and towers, they'll manage to find out how to get water from them. And you need to be very careful and clever how to keep the elephants away from the water. Apparently some of them this morning were hitting the dam cam. Not sure what they're going to get out of it, but you can probably smell the technician's hands on it. Yeah, so they're very aware of where the water's coming from, and that little pipe that's providing water there at the Vuetela Dam, Vuetela watering hole, that they kind of suck the water out of there if it's not producing it quick enough. Did you see that one run past there, Sens? I know you didn't get it on the camera. But there's a sub-adult playing with a really small youngster. I'm going to see if we can maybe reposition and get her. That's probably the individual that was screaming before, because she was getting a little bit too much attention from an older sibling. And we all know that. You get that one older sibling that likes to play a little bit rough, and the youngster doesn't like it so much. It's the center of attention, so to speak. See if we can get them out here playing around. There we go. Happy? Okay, there's a little youngster running, and that was the older sibling to the left, was having a little bit of a play, but obviously he wants to play back. So I suppose that's the same, as the youngsters want the attention, and then it takes the older one a little bit of a disciplinary moment, which often leads to tears. I remember that fondly from being a youngster and always wanting to play with my older brother. Have they gone around the corner there? Sands, I think they have. Just going to head back a little bit more. There we go. There's two youngsters having a proper play. There we go. They start from very early with the nose pushes. I'm going to be a big and strong elephant, I am. Yes. Yes, I am. Oh, in the side. That was a cheeky one. That was right in the ribs. Oh. You always get that one cousin, don't you, who's smaller than you, who punches you when you're not looking. They don't quite understand the ethics of games. They just hit you with the stick around the head. Oh, it's supposed to be fun. Okay, well, while we move off from these Ellies, let's go back over to McCurdy.
Such a lovely herd. You see, Steve, now you're having a nice sighting with the elephants. Right, guess what? Just got an update now. Cannot believe it. Thandi is on Little Gowrie at the lodge. That's far away from where she was this morning. So that's where she's prancing about. So I think we might change our route slightly. We might go from... might go down high. Yo, squirrel, what you doing? The world's craziest squirrel. There they are. On the termite mound just in front of us. Here to the right. Right. There's two of them. They're gone. But there were two of them there. One just tried to run underneath my tire. For what reason, I have absolutely no idea what was going through its mind. Silly squirrel. Well, they've gone on the other side of the termite mound now. Hey, yay. That gave me a fright. Stop being so naughty. Stop telling lies in the bush and stop trying to get yourself killed. I don't know why they did that thing, did they? It came running from the kid still. Oh, it's the same squirrel. There it goes. That's exactly the same squirrel. It's now just, playing a game with me. We'll see who wins this game. It's a very dangerous game to play with me, squirrel. That's all I'm saying. I obviously don't want to drive over the squirrel, in case that's what you're thinking. I cried my eyes out the first time I ever, now you're going to maybe think I'm a little bit pathetic, but I don't care. I was driving, the first animal I ever hit was a bird, and that's my extent of driving into animals. Driving down a freeway, what was I doing? I had the dogs in the car. Why did I have the dogs in the car? I think I was driving them up to Johannesburg or something, our big dogs. Anyways, what a nightmare that was. That's a whole nother story. And anyways, so driving normally in the next minute was like sort of this time, just getting to that crepuscular period, maybe a little bit later. And a Cape Robin chat, which is the most beautiful bird ever, flew straight into my windscreen. And there was absolutely nothing I could do about it. It was so sad. And as you know, when we are driving at high speeds on roads, I mean, anything can run across your car. And I mean, obviously didn't mean it. I was so devastated. I cried. My mom was in the car with me. I had to pull over. She had to drive. I was so hurt. And I was like, of all the birds, it had to be a Cape Robin chat, you know. Anyways, and yes, so that was I was traumatized after that experience. So I now make sure. I mean, I'm sure it's going to happen again. It happens to the best of us. I can see a raptor flying, but it's being blown about in the wind. It's probably a battalier in the distance. So what was I going to tell you? I was going to say to you that we should maybe head all the way down to the boundary, to Gowrie Main again, and maybe drive around Treehouse Dam, in case Tandakile decides that she's going to come back this way, where she's supposed to be, and then we'll see her a bit later. I wonder where she's hidden Tlalamba. I'm convinced. I'm convinced, though, that Tlalamba is off central. I wonder if those birds weren't alarming for her and she just ran away. Okay, well, I missed where I'm sending you to because a big gust of wind sort of blew and then I went deaf.
The wind has indeed picked up a lot, so I don't blame Taylor for forgetting who I was. Blown the memory of James Hendry away. Anyway, two things currently. We found Shidulu's tracks. They were on the road there. They've headed up towards the north and west. I don't think we're going to catch them now. We've picked them up a little bit late, so we're just going to keep going on here. Second thing to show you is the colour of Herbert's pants in relation to the grass that he's walking in. Now, he's very much dressed in the same colour as a lion, and look how beautifully camouflaged they are in the grass. If he was to lie down and take that pack off, he'd be totally invisible. And for me, this is why lions are the colour that they are. It's for times like this, when the grass starts to get a little bit sparser, there are fewer bushes to hide behind, and their colour now starts to really blend in. Makes no difference if there's a lot of green grass, and if there are bushes for them to hide behind, they could be pink, and it wouldn't make any difference to their hunting success. Well, obviously not quite, but you know what I mean. It's now, when the grass is like this, that the lion's brilliant tawny colour really starts to play an important role. Thank you. That's all I have to say about the lion's tawny colour. Never too late. Wildfires begin normally with human beings, actually, but often they will start with lightning. And so the rainy season here starts, in theory, possibly at the end of October, when the grass is extremely dry. I mean, it's dry now, but it's much drier then. And that's when we get these lightning storms, and often they come without rain. So we have a lightning storm, lightning strike, it strikes a patch of ground, catches fire, and then the fire runs. Now, I was just saying to my good pal Fergus here, as he was saying as the wind came up, that a fire would run now. And I said to him, no, it probably wouldn't, because it's cold. And fires out here need three things. The one is fuel. There's plenty of fuel after a good rainy season here. Grass is fuel. Trees in this area, not fuel for fires. They will not burn. They're not like those tree fires that rip through those northern conifer forests, for example. Nothing like that. Or the gum forests in Australia. So the trees won't burn unless you get a massively hot fire underneath them, and that's from grass. So that's fuel. Then the second thing you need is wind. Now we have wind today, so that's 2 of 3, except that this wind is cold, which brings me to number 3, which is temperature. In a cold wind like this, oh, bad luck, we fell in a hole. Fergus fell in a hole. Bad luck. So on a day like this, yes, you could get a fire going, but it would actually be quite easy to put out because there's still a bit of moisture in the grass, and as the temperature drops, it won't be able to rush through an area like this. But on those hot days, when we get to July and August, or end of July, August, September, you get a wind like this and a bit of a flame, then it'll run. But in this area, you know, everyone's quite prepared for it, and a grass fire is much easier to deal with than a forest fire. Delso, I'm sorry, I missed that about lodges and fires. Delso, not always. Sometimes they will leave it to burn. So, I mean, if somebody's fire preparation is good, what you'll have is a number of blocks with fire breaks around them. If a fire starts in one block, you can be fairly sure that you can go to the other end of that block, start a back burn, and burn back towards the fire, and that will then put it out. You don't ever just leave a fire in this area, though, simply because of loss of property. You will eventually lose lodges and homes, and the fires can go out into the communities and cause real devastation there. So, no, it's very seldom that you'd ever actually just leave a fire to burn. Jason, I do think that this winter will be as dry as the past few years. I mean, every winter is dry. Every winter is very dry. The problem comes when the summer after the winter is dry, and that's when we get droughts. So I don't think that this winter is going to be any different from any of the winters that I've seen while I've been here. Cold and dry. Yes, last year's wasn't very cold at all. I think this is cooler already than last year's winter. Most winters here very, very dry. Not a problem. Everything is okay with dealing with that. It's when you don't get rain after a very dry winter that the animals really start to have a problem. And it takes a few years for things to build up from there. Right, I'm just going to teach Fergus how to walk in the next little while. While I do that, Stephen has, found himself where he began, really.
Yes, well, we're trying to get back from the other side to the west, and there is once again a roadblock of wildebeest on the road. And they are gorgeous in this light. There's a little youngster. He's now going to make it very hard for us to get past. They have no idea that these are actually roads. They just see them as game paths and sandy patches. Good place to lie down. Good place to rub yourself when you have an itch and a scratch. A comfortable position for an animal to rest their body once they've filled their belly with food. They can just sit down, and you can see he's just doing a little bit of chewing, a little bit of ruminating, giving Senzo the evil eye. So it seems, Senzo, we might have to find another way around. That's okay. We were going to come and try and give Bushwalk team a final hand. No doubt Shidulu has probably moved a little bit from where we last saw her. Who knows exactly where? It's very hard to say. Considering how far she walks in the 2 hours we were with her, she could be anywhere. Okay. Well, there they are. They're sniffing. They've stood up, grazing the verge of the grass there, and the beautiful sun setting in the background. Taylor's comment last night that do the animals enjoy the sunset, or do they wonder what the night will behold? Yes, Sandy, this is always very special to be able to watch the sunset with animals just doing their thing. And look at that, they've made way. We can get through. Hooray! The impala and the wildebeest doing the thing in the open. That's where you want to hang out when it's windy, because you can see what's trying to sneak up on you. You don't want to be hiding in the bushes unless it's in the drainage and you camouflage like that. Well, it seems like Taylor is finding all the birds this afternoon. Let's go see if she's found the same one again.
We've got our, I think it was like our third fork-tailed drongo for the afternoon, but we have another one. This one was being quite funny because it was mimicking a pearl-spotted owlet. Shall we give it a bash? Oh, there we go. There it is. Just chirping softly. There's also a lot. I just called that pearl-spotted owlet in. I totally did it. Seb,
Okay,
I've got it. We're gonna reverse.
Okay.
I can't believe that. There's an actual pearl-spotted owlet. I'm gonna show it to you now. It's up there. I'm so excited I might drive us off the edge here. No, hang on, that didn't work. Okay, stand by. I have to start the vehicle. Because it's up here though. Oh no, don't fly again. It's flown. Did you see it, hey? I can't see the road. We're just trying to find it at the moment. It's calling now. I know you guys. Let me reverse quickly. I think maybe we'll get a better view. Sorry, I'm just checking. Am I going to go off the road your side? No. No, that's fine. This one I can see. I just couldn't see for a moment. Okay, we are looking for... there. We both got it. We've both seen it. There it is! There's the pearl-spotted owlet I was saying. It flew in from behind the other side of the drongo. Thanks, James. James has been trying to do that for at least 2 game drives. And he hasn't... He has not been successful. Here's me just mimicking the fork-tailed drongo. The fork-tailed drongo was actually mimicking the pearl-spotted owlet. Now we've called the pearl-spotted owlet in. Okay, if you stay like that, Seb, I'm going to start the car. The camera's going to shake, but at least I'll be able to move forward just slightly. Pretend there was an earthquake. No, let's not. I don't want to experience an earthquake. And then we're just going to wait for a little gap. Is that a bit better? I mean, it's not ideal, but it's difficult looking through the marula tree branches. That's me. Look, it's coming! Ah! There it goes. We got you, buddy. We fooled you. Hashtag got tricked. And landed behind there. But that pearl-spotted owlet totally thought I was another pearl-spotted owlet. I'm not going to disturb it anymore, though, but I'm pretty proud of myself today. I thought that was amazing. Anyway, somebody who's been trying to do what I just demonstrated is James. Let's go see what he thinks about being beaten by a girl.
Taylor, I think that's very sexist to say being beaten by a girl. That's very sexist indeed. I would never say I've been beaten by a girl. I would say I've been beaten by a human being. I'm very nice like that, you see. Did Taylor call the pearl-spotted owl in with her whistle or with her telephone? Oh, that really is very disappointing. Anyway, I'm so glad that she's such a gracious winner. What we have here is a rather remarkable caterpillar. And it's remarkable, I've seen these before, but what's remarkable about him is his face. You can see there he looks like a schnauzer. Now, a schnauzer is not my favourite bird in all the at least dog in all the world. I don't like the way their moustaches turn that sort of disgusting red colour after a while. Anyway, you can see what I mean by the fact that he looks like a schnauzer. And if you don't know what a schnauzer looks like, then a caterpillar. And to those of you who are schnauzer owners, well, I'm sorry, your dog looks like a caterpillar. Now, this caterpillar is eating the russet bush willow, Combretum herreriense, and what it is going to become, I don't know, but I do think it's quite interesting that it's still around. It's going to become a schnauzer, that's very true. It's going to become a small dog once it comes out of its pupa. Thank you for that, Fergus. But what is interesting about it, of course, is that it's existing at all in this weather. And would be fascinated to know if it's actually going to become what it's, well, the adult form, if you like, or if it will die as a caterpillar. It's very pretty. You've got golden colours, a bit of orange and red. Gorgeous. And also, the the temptation to let go of this branch and see what happens is overwhelming.
Oh my goodness. Bushwalk team's not winning at the moment, that's for sure. Those pesky technical gremlins. Hello, wildebeest. I'm going to pass the wildebeest because we're going to go to the boundary, but these are the ones that Steve was looking at earlier. Hello. Have a nice day. Don't get eaten. Excuse me. You're just not like scared of us at all. Okay, we won't look at you because this is fantastic. We don't often get to get a close view like that. Oh goodness, now look at the impala. Sounds like a stampede. That's of course where you telecamp at the back. I'll swing back for you like this, Seb. Sorry everyone. I'm going to start the car again and it takes me like 6 goes to get it going. Hey! You sounded like a baboon. This one. Hey, how funny was those sounds? They make the most bizarre sounds in the whole wide world. That's what that one is doing. Actually, should we look at it? This one's making great noises. He's got a sore throat, obviously, from competing with the rest of the boys. Make your call once more, please, then we can go. Of course, gone silent now. Once more, please, sir. You look like you want to do it. Look at their lips like that. He's going to march over and chase the herd around now. He's upset. He hasn't been able to keep everybody in line. And there's another male in and amongst his ewes. Well, what he thinks are his ewes. This other male might have a different opinion. And there he goes. Bye-bye. Nice. Okay, we shall carry on. That was a nice little sighting. Great interaction. Okay, well, we're still going to head down towards sort of the south now. and drive along the boundary and hope for Tandy to return. I don't know where Stivovo is. Our paths did cross earlier. Will they cross again?
Well, I'm going to make sure they don't. You've told me where you're going, Taylor. I'm going to avoid that area. I'm only joking. Well, I am going to avoid that area, but I'm only joking about not crossing paths. But we have decided to come into the west. We've found exactly where we last saw the Shidulu female. She wasn't there. Well, we didn't see her there this morning. We lost her there in the bushes. Saw the tracks of the bushwalk team. Here they are as well, walking in the road. They came to have a look. We've had her on that termite mound before. It's an area she really likes. Another reason we are choosing to be on the top here is because there's going to be a beautiful sunset not far from now. And we showed you the sunrise, so we're going to show you the sunset. Daily feature. Okay, well, no doubt the bushwalk team is slowly heading back as the golden orb sets, and I'm sure they have something they'd like to show you.
Going on as the golden orb sets, yes, we are. That is the track, I'm told, of a Swainson's Franklin. Now, we began this show with tracks of the Koki Franklin, and Herbert did a magnificent demonstration of how they walk, and I didn't know what he was talking about, but now I can see. What you can see here is at the front, or that only has 2 feet, doesn't it? The left and right feet don't walk one behind the other, so it sort of waddles a little bit. And the Koki Franklin that we saw earlier, apart from the fact that the tracks were smaller because it's a smaller bird, the tracks were right behind each other like that. Like a sort of model might walk down the catwalk. So that's quite interesting. Now I know the difference between the Swainson's Franklin track and the Koki Franklin track, which is excellent. And so do you, of course. And that will allow you to sleep easier this evening. On we go. Around to the pan. Here, what was that?
Well, it seems like the bushwalk has had a lot of niggles this afternoon. I do humbly apologise for that. You're back with us. How is everyone doing? Been very quiet on the questions front this afternoon. Don't forget to send through your questions and comments. Hashtag SafariLive or follow us on the YouTube stream. It's quite a beautiful shot there, Sens. Let me just move back. Now the sun is still a little way from setting. It's nice to look through there, see that bit of a red, and kind of the valley with a little bit of a rocky outcrop sort of on the right there. And that to the right is Manyeleti, which is the enormous reserve north of us. Looks like there's some smoke. No, that's that's dust on my screen. My apologies. See that little sort of high point in the distance? That's quite characteristic in quite a number of parts in the Lowveld. We don't have any of them in Djuma itself, but those little outcroppings are generally granite based, and it'd be very different tree species occurrence on there, and lots of different animal species like klipspringer, things that I'm sure none of you have seen on this show from Djuma itself, because the habitat just isn't there. You might see some lightning rods there. There's some thatch roofs in and around the gate. In Africa we do get a lot of lightning, and those big long rods in the sky are to prevent your house from burning down when the lightning invariably comes. Never too late. Once again, you have got an amazing comment there. It is too windy today. The questions are being blown away. Well, the wind has died right down, so bring the questions back, folks. Send them through. It is unbelievable how the air pressure has changed. And there's lots of cold fronts in the Cape, which I'm sure will be heading up here soon. It was very cold this morning. I think it's going to be okay this evening, but tomorrow morning, without any cloud cover, is going to be bitterly cold. Bitterly, bitterly cold. But that's okay. See, what's important about these little moments is when we stop and listen. We're not only taking in the view, we're also listening to whatever animal sounds might sort of materialize from the surroundings. And then you also get the opportunity to see a bird or two that just pops into view, as we have one just on the left over here. Jason, you are 100% correct, sir. Nothing like an African sunset. And this hornbill will tell you there's nothing like a termite or two to munch down, or an ant. A southern red-billed hornbill. A very interesting little walk. I think it's ants or termites that it's feeding on. And I think Scott did a little time-lapse video once where he sets up his camera next to a termite, harvests a termite burrow, and while the time-lapse was going off, because it takes some time to get a decent one in, he moved off and came back, and the time-lapse showed a hornbill come down and smash a number of the termites live on his camera. That was pretty cool. There you can just see in the foreground there's a whole lot of bits of grass moving right where he's pecking now, and that's the harvester termites that are busy moving grass material around to the hole, and then they start moving it down just below him. Oh, he's wiping off something. Didn't like that one. Oh, well, quickly moves on. There we go. You can see them all quickly bolting back. There we go. You can actually see them quite nicely. And they're right there. Corin, I haven't seen a ground hornbill in some time, actually. I haven't. I have heard them a number of times. They have a very loud call, which comes over a very long distance. And they would also probably eat on termites, but this guy, look how accurate he is with his beak there. Munch, munch. Termites scurry off. There's nothing much a termite can do in defense against a bird with a beak like that. It's all about numbers. All about numbers. And if you've ever tasted a termite before in your life, it would actually taste a little bit like peanut butter. Termites might need to change direction indeed. He's got a friend come to join him. He's realized there's some fresh pickings on the floor here. This is the time of day when the termites will come out, because the heat of the day, or the UV light of the sun, is fading. So they're a lot more sort of active. Harvester termites actually got a little bit of melanin in them, which enables them to move in the day. But in the really heat of the day, you don't see too much of them doing that. But the sun is looking at another spot that doesn't have any towers in the distance. Not a problem, Lukey. So this is a nice open area up in the northwest called Sandy Patch. Another popular haunt for the wildebeest. And that goes to show, I mean, we look at animals impacting vegetation and wildebeest impacting vegetation, and for a long time agriculturalists would look at stocking rates, or right there, would look at stocking rates of their area and see how many animals they could put on. And that's all to do with the amount of food availability. So they knew how many animals they can put on by the amount of food that's available, due to all sorts of methods that you can work it out. But something that they left out completely was how much food do the termites actually consume. That was something that was completely left off the radar. And so farmers were stocking their farm at capacity to what the sort of unit standard would be, but all sorts of degradation were happening because they weren't taking into account the insects. How much forage do insects or termites consume in a year? And I don't actually know how much, but it's an enormous amount. Enormous amount. They don't stop. They're constantly doing their thing. They are recycling it all back into the soil, but they are still removing, the ground cover, which is obviously one of those things that the wildebeest are also doing. Okay, well, just spend another moment with the sun here, and whenever you are ready, Lukey, you can go back over to Taylor.
That's my new thing from now on. Every time we come back to me, I'm just going to wave at the camera. We're driving on Gowrie Main now, which is one of the boundary roads, and the reason why we're doing that is because, like I said to you earlier, Tundi is apparently a little Gowrie, which I find bizarre, just because she hasn't spent much time down here at all. And she's obviously changed her territory quite a bit from when I started working here. I remember she used to live on Torchwood, and she'd pop into Cheetah Plains regularly, and then Kuchava was further east of that. That's Tundi's oldest daughter. She was on Cheetah Plains, you'd see her on Koro, and now everybody has shifted in. Since Karula's left, Tundi has now taken over Karula's territory. Kuchava's now taken over her mother's territory, Tundi, and Tundi's just like, well, I'm just going to have this whole section of the north to myself. So she roams basically the entire extent of Djuma, barring the far western and northern corners, which Shidulu seems to just swing by and pop past, and then the rest of it is Tundi's. I mean, she's got all the way, I would say, from the antenna where the cheetah like to hang around, all the way east and south of that. She just goes, and she moves on, and she still goes on to Torchwood. She even goes into Vafoshoek. It's crazy how big this area is that she travels. So I think we'll just drive down here slowly. I'm hoping I'm going to see some cars passing out that we can have a chat to and find out some more information as to what's actually going on and where she is. Is she moving? Is she coming north? Is she on a kill? What the story is, because I just know that she's there. I don't know anything else. I've had some more information definitely be helpful this evening. And then if I hear vehicles off-roading, then I know that she's probably coming this way. But no sign as of yet. Marcy, there's only so much I can do, I'm afraid. I'm going to try. I mean, I can only just drive up and down here and hope that I bump into either Tundi or a guide that can give us more information and let us know if we're wasting our time or not. I don't think we're wasting our time, though, because I doubt that Tundi is going to spend much time in Little Gowrie. I think she's just popping on, having a little look, and she'll come back through. Tlalamba, I don't think is that side. She's definitely still on Djuma. But who knows? I wonder which route she would have walked, because I didn't see any of her tracks around here. Now, of course, we're all plotting as to which areas we're going to drive and to try and find the cats. Let's go and see if Steve has got a plan.
Well, my plans is to keep driving until something jumps out into the road. Well, that's what we're doing at the moment. We're just kind of covering the general areas where Shidulu possibly would be moving. It's cooled down quite a lot. It's almost time for glove layer number 1. Okay, I think it's actually time. Glove layer number 1 is coming on. Ah, that's better. Senzo's probably going to be putting on his socks again on his hands. Aren't you, Senzo? Yes? Oh, he's not. He's actually putting on proper gloves this time. I don't know where your proper gloves were this morning. You had them on as well. Okay. Difficult to operate the camera with the really big, thick gloves, though. Can you check here? Oh! We just had a deka there. Sorry, sweet history. The lions, have they left? Well, they do. They come and go. We haven't seen the Unkuhumas for some time. Well, a week. We are so lucky in the Sabi Sands to see the animals we see. I was joking with, no, I wasn't joking, but Seb came back last Tuesday and he was on a walk with me, and it was Tuesday afternoon. I was like, we haven't seen any cats. And he's like, it's Tuesday. Yeah, so we see a lot of cats here. I'll be honest with you. The Sabi Sands produces amazing cat interaction and sightings, but they just move through and they go to the other traversing properties next door. And if they stay there, if they're on a kill, then it could be some time until they come back again. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. The Evokers went directly north 2 nights ago and went out north past directly towards the sunset, actually, or probably a bit north of that, because the sun, as you all know, sets in the west. So north back into Manuleti, which is a very nice area for them. Lots of interesting stuff and prides of lions up there that we don't even know anything about. Well, some of the other guides do. I've never been up. Different habitats, so maybe some more buffalo up there. Lions like their buffalo. They don't quite like, well, they enjoy impala and dacre, but it just doesn't go very far. When you're a pride of 10, 11 or 3 big males, sharing an impala just isn't quite right. So they do prefer the bigger prey. But we have seen, we had some tracks of buff this morning. Turned out to possibly be a group of bulls. And there have been a number of giraffe on the property of late. So maybe that will bring the lions in. They do move for that food. I love Westies. Well, thank you. We do try. I promise I don't talk too much nonsense. Most of what comes out has got some form of base to where it comes from, or experience. And I don't know where it comes from. Sometimes it just materializes. What you got there, Sense? Some birds. Very good. Senzo stopping me for birds. That's marvelous. And we've got one that you've seen a lot of today, I think. The crested barbet. And there's some arrowmark babblers that flew away from him. Just off to the left. There's some arrowmark babblers doing some of their allomimetic behavior. As they're bonding, they're group bonding, sort of like a football chant, you know, keeping their group together, showing all the other babblers in the area that this area is occupied. Well, another animal that likes to shout themselves out into the wilderness, James has found one of them.
I have indeed, and I found a little one that has basically been doing what everyone else has been doing. He's watching the sunset. The sun has obviously just set, obviously, because it's after sunset. But he's facing west, that little squirrel. I suspect he lives in a little nest somewhere on the marula tree behind him, or on the dead tree in front of him. And he will shortly go in there and be cosy. I've no doubt someone is at home making a meal, while he sits out there and quaffs a drink, or perhaps he's a bachelor, perhaps he's going in there on his own and he'll make himself an omelette for dinner before settling in to the latest televisual feast. I imagine he's the sort of squirrel that would watch a cosy murder mystery from Middle England somewhere. I'm not sure why I think that. Anyway, that is the tree squirrel, for those of you who don't know. And I'm sorry about all the picture breakup we've had today on the walk. Yeah, I would agree with that, Luke. Luke says he's the kind of guy who looks like he knows the end before it happens. Yeah, exactly. That's why he watches them. He can predict who the baddie is. He's very sweet, isn't he? It's going to be a chilly night. There's a really kind of ominous feeling about it. Lots of smoke in the air. There's been a big fire somewhere. And I suspect a cold front running through the country somewhere. Shall we try and get a bit closer, Ferg? Willow Wanderer, squirrels are they are pretty territorial. I don't think they live necessarily in the same hole all the time. I think they probably do move around a little bit, but not a huge amount. They'll stay within an area. I've definitely seen them chasing each other around, and you know, good burrows I don't think are particularly easy to come by necessarily, good nesting sites. And so they will be quite defensive over their nesting sites. He's just popped over there. He's watching us now. Let's stop and have a look. Good evening. What tipple are you coughing as you watch the sunset? The termite mound does look a bit sad, yes, but it is in the marula tree behind, so that he doesn't have to live in a termite mound. Maybe he's a very poor bachelor. Let's go a little bit closer. Alrighty. We're going to hand you back over to Steve now. It has become slightly sort of dark, and so we're going to make our way back to camp. If we find something on the way, we'll tell you about it. Otherwise, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, James. Whoopsie. That's what happens when you don't look at the road. You hit speed bumps. Thanks, James, for your antics this afternoon. He can now go to his bed and have a proper nap rather than pretending in the grass, don't you think? Okay, well, this is the area we had those two elephants this morning, the elephant bulls, doing their thing. And the one bull was so destructive, he just, let's see if we can find it. He just destroyed this African weeping wattle just for the sake of, yeah. Let's have a look at what he did. This is the one up here. Now, have a look at this. I'm going to jump out while Senzo frames a little bit. Have a look at exactly what's gone on. He opened up the canopy. First he walks inside of this beautiful tree. He walks in over here and he has removed a third of the tree. It's gone. It's gone. Here's a... Here's part of it. He just breaks that with the tusk. Lifts the branch up with the tusk and just cracks it, and then he was pulling off these beautiful strips of bark, which I'm going to have to, there we go, and then munching. It's really not that good. He looked like he was loving it. You can tell he was loving it. This whole branch, and this whole branch has been broken down. He fed on here. Here is the characteristic. Let me actually get you a good one. Here's the characteristic one, where he's physically turned it and munched. Now, Samuel, first of all, the trunk doesn't do the breaking. The trunk, he might be able to sort of curl the trunk. Let me try and demonstrate. Try and curl the trunk kind of like this. Can you see, Sense? And then he pushes with his body. But that's mainly the, you know, like if I curl it like this, that's kind of his head pushing like that. And they'll often lean their weight in, and then they can snap it. And once the branch is broken, well, then they can pick it up, as in the case of this one. He can pick it up, and he's actually physically had this in his mouth here. He's physically turned this in what we call the corkscrew motion. He puts it in the mouth, and it goes from one end to the other, and it turns like that as his molars work to rip the bark off. And what they can also do is their trunks are quite agile, actually. They could peel an orange if you gave them one. We don't give them oranges, otherwise they'd become an absolute nightmare at camp, because we like our oranges. But with his trunk, he's able to grab a piece of bark just like this and rip it off and then stick that in his mouth. It's quite a common thing that they do with the knobthorn trees, is they often will stick their tusk into the bark like that and then get a strip of the bark and then rip it. And with quite a number of acacia species, the bark actually rips all the way up like that. It's probably one of the reasons why it causes so much damage to the trees. Thanks, Marcy. Natural elephant Steve. So, but he's destroyed half of the tree, or a third of the tree, left these branches right there. There's no one to do this, for example, over there as well. But look at this patch that is over here. Can you see how sandy it is? This is going to turn into a microclimate. Right here, I'm not going to move this away. This has been dumped by the elephant completely randomly, and over a period of time, seeds are going to blow in, grasses are going to start to grow here. This is going to start forming a little sort of exactly sitting bull. It's just like humans, except we use our hands and we use the front of our teeth. They put it in, and while they're chewing, they're busy looking for something else. It's a non-stop process. But I suppose if you're feeding for 20 odd hours a day, that is exactly what happens. But the microclimates, and look at how he hasn't even touched the leaves. Poor tree. Poor tree. But it's part and parcel of what goes on out here. These trees take a bit of a knock from the elephants, but that's what I'm talking about there. You can see where that branch is. The branch is forming that microclimate where it will protect against erosion, add seeds, provide a little home for all sorts of little animals. That's what the elephants do. That's why we call them ecosystem engineers. Okay, well, that was fun, investigating the antics of the elephant bulls from this morning. And I'm not sure where Taylor is, but by the looks of where we're going, we're probably going to cross paths soon. But let's go have a look.
Well, I'm waiting for a leopard. That's what I'm doing. Tundi's on her way here. I'm not trying to listen to where the cars are. Sorry, I'm ducking out of frame. I'm looking behind me. There's a safari vehicle coming very quickly behind us, so I'm just going to pull off the road slightly. That is where we have been, and that is what we've been doing. We're just literally just going to wait. I'm not driving anywhere, unless it's up and down Gowrie Main. I'm not interested. We are waiting for the leopard. It'll come. It'll come this way at some point. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed. Just be aware that there's a vehicle coming. There you go. Sorry, everybody. Hi. Bye. Very friendly bunch, that. We're obviously sitting in the right spot. That's all I'm saying, because the vehicle has gone down that way. So, must mean that the leopard is coming this side. So here we shall sit. We listen to see how far they drive. We do the thing that James does. James does something like this. He pulls his ears forward, and then he cups them. It's an interesting technique. And I've got an earpiece in, it's not too long. I'm going to take my earpiece out for like 2 seconds. All I can hear is cars. Lots of cars. But that's a good sound. That's the only time you'll ever hear me say that that's a good sound. Oh, I'm seeing reverse lights coming on. She's coming. We just wait here patiently. This is so nicely going. Welcome home. We'll lay the red carpet out for Tundi. I feel like she expects that. Sebastian, are you okay over there? Yeah. Seb's got spanners. He's... Oh no, something's not cooperating correctly here. Tundi, 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 Tundi. Okay, I'm just... Robbie, thanks so much, Rolf. I'm going to hang by and just wait for her to cross. Okay, it seems like she's coming this way. I'm going to try and squeeze in and out and in between all these vehicles to hopefully get a view of her. But we'll make sure we give the leopard space. Off we go back to Steve to see where he is, and hopefully he avoids this area. There's lots of traffic.
Well, I will definitely avoid the area. I'm not 100% sure where. But on the southern boundary, I can assume I have an idea. We are in the west, slowly meandering. We'll find our own leopard. It's going to be time for infrared in a little bit, when everything is going to go black and white and we're going to start seeing the way predators see. Very slowly. It's a very quiet afternoon. The wind has dropped. The birds have all decided to start going to bed. We just passed a very nice herd of impala, but we'll talk about them later. Getting to that time of day when nocturnal animals are supposed to come out on the table, and who knows, one could be moving. What's that, Senz? Senzo's trying to do some magic. He's saying, we're trying to do magic. Hang on, let's do a lucky branch here, shall we, Senz? I'm going to do some magic. The magic worry. Remember, if you're hanging above your door frame, it's good luck. Here's one for you, Senz. You can put that on. Okay. We're lucky. Who knows what we're going to find. When it comes to night time, it's all about just a gut instinct about where to go. And then obviously, huge element of luck. You can be on the right road or the wrong road. This isn't as comfortable as the last one I wore. Especially when I turn around. I don't think I did too much turning around. We were walking. Sorry, Luke, I didn't quite get that. My earpiece was obscured by a branch that's hanging on my neck. It's a good look. Yeah, green. Green matches my eyes. My eyes are actually blue. Sometimes green. No one will see me coming camouflaged. The camouflage is actually quite painful to turn my neck from side to side. There's like a little sharp, but I might have to modify that. But we'll be okay. We'll be okay. Okay, so the luck is on board. How's everybody? Are we feeling like a leopard is going to materialize? Keeping our eyes very well peeled. It's almost time to bring out the spotlight, but not just yet. We're still using our daytime eyes, just adjusting into the darkness. Senzo's got great eyes. We were really lucky this morning when we found that male impala sitting on top of the termite mound, and I just knew, what's he doing up there? He wasn't feeding, he was just... And then I decided, no, we got to go in. We got to go in. And as we went in, he started looking off to the other side. And then as soon as I was about to give up, Senzo's like, no, there's the leopard. She was walking away. So it's really interesting, paying attention to animals' body language. It's not just about the noises that they make. Sometimes, like giraffe, for example, really good if you see what they're looking at. Very, very good to see. They're very, very helpful. Okay, I think it is time. Here's a little sort of diurnal type / nocturnal creature there, Senzo, just off, oopsie, and that's exactly what happens in the daytime. Duiker are impossible to spot with the camera. Okay, so Senz, you're going to count us to 5. Are we going to go into the infrared? Okay. 1. Okay, we're going. Well, hang on. Let's do this from. Okay, we're going 5, Lukey. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Magic trick number 1 for the day. Did you see that, folks? That was quite powerful. I'm a guy, I'm driving, I have a spotlight, I'm talking to you, and I'm managing to make TV screens change from black and white, from color to black and white. I think I've just learned a new skill. Could I put that on my CV, do you think? Do you think it's a relevant thing to put on your skill on a CV? No, probably not. Probably about as relevant as wearing a quarry branch. Okay, magic is in high demand around the world. Senzo, what you thinking? Gut feeling, right? Yeah, Senzo and I are both feeling right. This is where it comes down to it, folks. You know, we could go left or straight, and we could see something, or we could go right and see something, or we could do either and see absolutely nothing. That's where it comes down to the gut feeling, the intuition within yourself that you should follow. And yeah, I believe the sixth sense that we have within ourselves is very important. It's gotten me out of all sorts of trouble in my life. Whether the trouble was there or not, it's hard to say. You know, you just get that gut feeling about routes to travel home, or maybe you're walking home in a busy city or something and you decide, no, I'm not going to go that way, I'm going to go that way. Nothing happens, but what happens if you went that way? The other way. Your gut just sometimes feels uneasy, and I think it's very important. A lot of people don't pay attention to their gut. Afterwards something happens, they go, oh, I knew I shouldn't have done that. Get more and more in tune with who you are and what you're feeling. It's very popular in martial arts to be intuitive when it comes to all sorts of techniques. For example, being able to have someone stand behind you in karate, stand behind you on your knees and have absolutely no intention of hitting you with the sword, but then suddenly swipe at the sword, and you've got to know inside that you must duck out of the way. Intuitive. Anyway, let's go over to Taylor and see exactly how she's getting on with her flair.
Not very well, unfortunately. Steve, I'm going to call you on the radio now. Steve for Taylor. Steve, please can you come and drive Gary Main here, Weaver's Nest, as quick as you can. Tandy's about to cross. She's somewhere on between Weaver's Nest and Twin Dams itself. But if you can get you as quick as you can. I've got no thermal and I've got no infrared, so there's no point in me hanging around. Yeah, come Weaver's Nest, Fugger Jumbo though, because the vehicles are still here waiting for her to cross, so it'll be best you pick up on her as she crosses. Copy, good luck. Okay, well, there goes my chances of seeing a leopard again. I'm hoping I come back to work and the leopard luck changes slightly. Anyway, so we're having some unfortunate difficulties today with a variety of things. So we will go and look for other animals that we can view with a spotlight. I'm glad my spotlight's working. That's all I'm saying. Otherwise we'd be so stuck. Okay, so I don't really know where we're going to go just yet. We'll probably have a look. We'll turn down Shibamo Road. I'm not so sure what's happening with Tandy. I think the guys may have lost her, but she was coming in this general direction, but there's quite a few different vehicles that have sort of spread out on the road, and hopefully they'll be able to catch her as they cross. And then with Steve coming in as well, that'll be great because he can follow her straight onto the property, which will be nice. But she's coming home like I suspected. I never thought that she was going to spend very much time at all doing down there in the south. Unusual for her these days. Now hopefully Steve will get her. And it'll be very nice if he can have a leopard in both game drives today, and then it'll be unbelievably special. Lara, the point is that I'm not really going to be able to view her, so it's not me not wanting to see Tandy. I would love to see a leopard. Last one I saw was Tingana, found thankfully by Byron last week. I think that was the last leopard I saw, so it was quite nice. It was a great sighting, in fact. It was really nice watching him walk around. I think the next time I'll see a leopard will probably only be when I come back from my holiday, because I go on holiday in a few days' time. But anyways, we shall search. Maybe we'll find some more owls. We'll find maybe a bush baby. All of these things. No. I know that Steve said he was going to race as quick as he can, even though you couldn't hear him. And I bet he is super excited to hopefully add Tandy to his list.
Yes, we will find Tandy, and I'm always excited, Taylor. Got my Gori branch on. Told you to bring good luck. I didn't mean for that to make all Taylor's equipment stop working. That's not what I meant by good luck and us finding a leopard. But yes, she's telling us where to go. So we're going to quickly pop onto Gari Main, which is the road just off to the right here. It'll probably be the quickest way to get there, because apparently Tandy is going to be crossing Little Gowrie into Djuma soon. So we'll go there and see if... Oh, I'm sorry. We've just bumped into some people having a sundowner. Good evening. Sorry, Tex. Sorry, guys. There's Texan from Juma Lodge. They're all probably wondering what the heck is he doing wearing that on his neck? Blending in. I should tell them they should also wear one. See how many will do it. Okay, well, we're going to put on some more lights. We're about to get onto the main road. Gowrie Main, that is. Below us is Little Gowrie here. Woo! We can do it. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Okay, well, while we try and get there, let's go back over to Taylor for a real quick little moment.
Wonderful, Stivovo. I'm so glad that you are nearby and almost there. If you do need a hand at some point in trying to follow her, although I'm sure that Taxon and Rexon are going to be super, super excited to also come and see the leopard. I know I said to Rex, because he obviously has guests, I said to him, you go and have sundowners on Twin Dams, because he was deciding whether he would skip his sundowner and wait for the leopard to cross. And I was like, I'll just stand guard here. I'll be the gatekeeper and let Tundi in. And so I know that they were very keen, and I'm pretty sure Emily and Graham are also here at the moment, and they're out on safari. We've seen them, and I know that they were quite keen to see a leopard too. I think it's the animal that they have yet to see. They saw the evoke males, they saw the lovely herd of elephants that we had, they saw Scuba Steve at Buffelshoek Dam. So, all very, very exciting. Let's see if we can add a spotted cat to all the guests list this afternoon. I'll go back and watch it. Hopefully I will. Again, owls. I really want to see a spotted eagle owl again. It's been some time. You know where I always see spotted eagle owls? When we're driving at night. Ooh. Seb, I've just seen that plate has just come loose. You know, the one that you were fixing now? Sorry, this one plate that Seb's been working hard on the entire afternoon. There's a bush fix.
Time to go home, eh?
You hear that noise? That's what we call a bush fix. You just bang it into place. It stays there. Oh my goodness. Paula, can you imagine how it would be hilarious if Graham would present? It would be so great. I think he'd be very excited about everything out here in the bush. We were going to play a prank on him earlier when we saw him at Buffelshoek. It was Seb's idea. He's like, let's pretend we're alive. And then I was a little bit nervous because I was like, this could go two ways. And so we did. And then he almost started like he was, oh, hello, everybody. But we should have actually done it while we were live. That would have been funny. I bet you all would have been happy to see Graham, Ian as well, who is very much, I'm sure his title is the financial director. I don't know why I said I think. Anyways, he's here with his kids. It's so exciting. Everyone's here just enjoying the bush. So I hope that they've all had a nice time. You know, we are lucky we get to live every single day out here. For others, it's a luxury to come on a safari. Okay, if I see a vehicle. Now, I don't know if they've managed to find Tandy. Ian is driving the Wellingtons around with Graham as the co-pilot. He is giving directions, which is entertaining. He doesn't even have a map, but he's obviously been here for quite some time, so he knows the roads really, really, really quite well. So I'm not too worried. You sort of just tell him every now and then when I see anything interesting, I'll drop Emily a pin of like the location, and then they can also just follow it. And you won't believe most of these roads are on the on Google, I suppose on the maps, which is nice. They don't have names though, but you can see the pathways. Obviously they don't have no idea what we call half of these roads, but like the main ones, like Gowrie Main is on Triple M, the boundary roads, because that's also how people from all over the world, if they are self-driving in, that's how they sort of travel in. So yeah, very exciting. A few of the new viewers are going, who are these Wellingtons? These Wellingtons are the reason why we have the show today. They are the owners and directors and all sorts of things of the company. Ian does the financial side of things. I think he said to us the last time he'd actually been out to Juma was in 2016, so almost 2 years ago that he was last year in the bush. So it just goes to show you, like I said, how spoiled we are that we get to live out in the wilderness every single day and admire all the wonderful wildlife. And when there's no wildlife, the sunsets and sunrises and just the cloud formations and the smells and the sounds of the birds, looking at all the birds, you know, all those things are just really, really beautiful. Very beautiful. Come on, Spotted Eagle Owl, show yourselves. Now this is making me very nervous. Where has Tundi gone? But hopefully Steve will have an update.
Okay, well, we're coming into it now. Don't know where she is exactly, but this is where it gets tricky because you're on a boundary road. So there's lots and lots and lots of people who have access, should you say, to be able to see. I'm going to try and get past here quickly. Hello everybody. Hello, how are we doing? Hi, hi. Good, good. They're all very excited to see me. I don't know who they are. I think this is Taylor up ahead here. Is that Rex? Okay, well, some impala here. I'm going to just come move in. Sorry guys about any audio that might be coming through. There's my main man, Rexon. Hello, Baba. Good afternoon. Is she coming? Okay. Okay. Okay, I'll come wait on the fire break here. I'll have a listen, okay? Have a good evening. So she hasn't crossed yet. They lost her, as you know. That's Tundi. That's Tundi. We'll just stand by over here and let all the business unfold. You know, when she wants to disappear, that's just what she does. She just wants to come back, you know. She wants to come back. She's probably left Kalamba somewhere, so no doubt she'll be coming right back onto Juma. Where exactly? I don't know. So we're just going to stop here, have a little listen. There's a whole lot of impala down there by that pan. I was watching some very strange looking expressions on a number of vehicles that we have chatted to since getting here, and they're kind of looking at me like they're trying to figure it out. I think they're trying to want to ask their guide, like, what exactly is going on with that guy? Oh well, doesn't matter. They should subscribe and watch, and they'll find out all this information. So there's some impala. There's some impala just down here. She's not there. There's a vehicle just up, sort of, you can see some lights there. Very good chance that she's probably moving in this direction. But it can be quite tricky along these main roads, because there's no real sort of rules, you know. People just come and go. Like, that's a service vehicle leaving, and it can make things quite tricky. The branches got me in the area for the luck. Now we just need the luck to pay off, don't we? So you might hear kids' voices. It is school holidays in South Africa, so all the landowners and most of the people frequenting, especially the north and Torchwood and Djuma, have got lots of kids around with them. There's lots of children's noises in the air these days, as comes with school holidays. We always forget when we're out of school how many holidays they actually do have. As us adults don't get the same amount of time off, do we, Sens? Minamu, I don't know. Sens, are you saying they can? What? You giving me thumbs up? Senzo is trying to answer the question, but when I ask him, he's confused at what I'm asking him. But anyway, can big cats get arthritis? I'm not 100% sure. It's possible. I mean, I don't think they live long enough to get arthritis. I think arthritis is first of all, possibly genetic thing. I'm no doctor though. And I think also you need a certain amount of time for the bones to start doing what they do. But I really have no idea. I'm sorry, I don't have the answer to that. Okay, well, there's a few people standing by. Okay, well, it seems like Taylor has moved on from here, obviously, and her gremlins seem to have passed for the moment.
Oh, no way. So sorry, Stephen. Thank you for holding the show there. I'll basically just explain to you what had happened is our bracket that the camera is sitting on. There's the part that's not doing so well anymore, and we're just worried that everything's going to fall apart and the camera is going to fall. Things like that, but we've removed the infrared light, so that's less weight now, so hopefully it will be a bush fix. Sebastian has managed to make it fix, and I don't think we've got too much of drive left just yet. I don't think we need to go home just yet to try and fix it. We should manage, but I'll be driving slowly and I'll be driving on the roads. Oh my goodness, look at the moon. You can just see it. I think it's because it's so hazy tonight that you can't really see what's going on with that faint little red dot in the distance. That's the moon. It's very, very hazy out there. You can, oh my goodness, you can only just see it. Actually, can you hear all the beautiful crickets? Now all we need is either a bronze-winged courser to call, no, maybe something a bit prettier than that, maybe a fiery-necked nightjar. One of the most impossible calls to try and mimic if you're a human. Should we do that? Should we try our best, sort of, while we wait for Tanji to cross on through, we try our best fiery-necked nightjar call? I'm going to quickly play the call for you so you know what it's supposed to sound like while we watch the moon. And then I'm pretty sure Steve Orville will be keen to join in on the challenge too. He's always a trooper. So nightjar N. That's one we don't often do. So we skip it. Okay, you ready? That's what it's supposed to sound like. Here's my attempt. No, that's terrible. Luke said it sounds like the polyphonic version of the ringtone. I think that must be one of the hardest bird calls to try and do. But next time when we go to Steve, we must ask him to give it a bash as well. And I reckon he could probably do a better call than me. I think the only call that everybody knows how to do really well here in the Lowveld is the pill-spotted owlet. Really, that's pretty much it. Well, that was a nice view of the moon. It's pity we didn't see it rise though, but I think it may have been so sort of hazy we couldn't see what was really going on. Wonderful. But as I said, we're going to do a bird challenge, a nocturnal bird challenge. Let's go and see how Steve fares.
Well, thank you, Taylor. I probably am better at doing it than you because I'm already camouflaged like a nightjar would be. I'm ready. That is my best attempt. The impala started alarm calling. Well, so seeing as Taylor challenged me, why don't we see how many of you out there are willing to vote for Taylor or myself who made the most convincing nightjar call. So Taylor or Steve for the nightjar call. This is my best attempt. And the impala were alarm calling and then looking sort of back a little bit Rexon is in the sighting. He's just over there. I wonder if he will let me know if he sees anything. It's never fun though, sitting here and waiting. Will she cross? He's moving down. I'm going to go check the Umawati drainage. Impala don't quite know where they're looking. So we're going to go back this way. Maybe she's coming in. Okay. Let me just turn around. Sorry, Luke, I didn't get... Oh, sorry, I'm going to switch off right there because we've got something amazing about to happen. Can we potentially go back to colour for this, Lukey? Is it possible to go out of IR? Okay, Senzo, when you're back in colour, let me know. Okay, Lukey, we're back. Beautiful red moon. And there's the atmosphere there, the moon. So it was full moon sometime today. This is regarded as a full moon, but at some point it was full, because it would have risen somewhere on the planet at the same time that the sun was setting. The sun has been down for a good many minutes, so there's a good chance that it's not 100% full for us, but still regarded as a full moon night, and these are nights that the animals get a bit of respite from the hunting animals because they can see very, very well. And it's often when you get your predators calling, scent marking, reaffirming their territories. Let's go over to Taylor quickly, she's got an owl.
Look, 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 what we got? Who is this? Is it a pill spotted or a barred? Looks like a pill spotted. Beautiful. Perhaps it heard my fiery-necked nightjar call. No, I'm joking. But it is actively looking for something at the moment. You can see, look, its head is, there we go, smiling at us. But definitely staring down into the grass, looking for an insect of sorts. Now, I mean, these birds eat a variety of different things. It always surprises me as to the size of their prey. In case you weren't convinced that it was a pill spotted, you can see it is now, with those spots on course on the back of its head. They'll eat things from grasshoppers to katydids to chameleons to rodents that are almost the same size as them. At this time of the year, I think they'd be going for rodent. Look, 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 looks like it wants to go. Yeah, it's moving its head, depth perception. It looks like it's going to get dive straight down. There it goes. It's gone in the grass. There, it's, oh, hang on. Hold on, Seb, it's actually just flown back to the other tree behind it. So I'm going to just drive forward and see if we can't get a gap. I wonder if it caught something, I don't know. I don't know if we'll see it again, but it definitely, I heard it in the grass. Just having a quick look. Oh, I think it basically flew behind this tree. I don't know if we're gonna. Can you that? I think I saw that as well. I think it's actually a leaf that we're looking at. Oh no! It would have been nice to see if it was successful, but sadly not. It's just gone behind those trees, just out of range. That was nice though. But you can clearly see though when these birds get ready to you know, to dive down. We see it with the kingfishers. They also do the same thing. They start moving their head around to try and focus properly, to try and gauge, you know, how far away is this? What am I going to do? Okay. And then they go. And then off they go again. That was really nice to see. There used to be one on quarantine. It was really funny. It was there most nights. And it would often just catch these those big crickets, you know, those, oh, what are they called now? I've forgotten. But the big crickets that make lots of noise. Who have we got now? I've just seen eyes at the base of a tree. There's something. It's farther. Hang on, I just want to make sure I don't go into a tree. I don't know if you can see, Seb. Can you see any eye shine? You know, you see this tree here? down and to the right, there's a tiny little shrub. Okay, now I'm going to switch off, sorry. There's eyes looking straight at us. Go to the right a little bit. Okay, and then go all the way to the back behind those trees. There's something in there. I think I had them. Chop her up. There's definitely something in there. It's most likely going to be a genet. You just see eye shine every now and then. If you go a little bit to the right, Seb. Yeah, I think it's there by the... You see where those thick branches are? That's where it is. There's a reflection now of the eyes. But again, it's hard to sort of see. What are you? Moving? Actually there. Seb, look on my monitor. Sorry, I just want to show you. Yeah. It's somewhere in there. It's like right behind those things. I just get to see eye shine every now and then. You know what the other thing it could be is it might also be a little Daker or Steenbok. Because it's not running. Nah, I think it's just too far away for us to get a view, I'm afraid. But it is in there. There's something in there with an eye shine. Oh well, it'll be a mystery. You can pretend it was anything. You can go ahead and get creative with what you think it was. Oh, no, so it doesn't sound like Tundi was found. She's obviously given us a slip. Anyways, let's go and get Steve's opinion on that mystery cat.
My opinion on the mystery cat, possibly you talking about Tundi. Well, we don't know where she's gone. A lot of the vehicles that were hanging around seem to have lost their patience. But that is Tundi for you. She will give you the slip if you're not paying attention. She does that very, very well. Ah, 57 to 43% voted for me for the Nightjar Challenge. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very, very much. And while we enjoy the full moon, I will try not let my ego boil over. It's just a whistle, isn't it? I did have to have a drink of water to enable me to do that. Impossible to do the Nightjar call with a dry mouth. Maybe we should try that. So you can do the best Nightjar call with a dry mouth. Well, it has been a couple of technical issues today. We do apologize for them, but overall I think we've had a really, really nice afternoon, and being a full moon, it is going to be a very bright night. We'll probably drive home with the lights off, just take in the signs and sounds of the night. And it has been a really nice afternoon with our elephants, James Henry and his antics, Taylor McCurdy doing what she does best, and Senzo and all the other cam-ops. Thank you to you, the viewers, for your questions and comments. What a marvelous afternoon we've had. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning for another show here in Djuma. Have a good night.